Perfect. Now if I can adjust my hair. Also this Santa hat, we should be good to go. Boom. And also I'll check on stream or on YouTube and Twitter to see if the stream itself is working properly. And then we can get going. But until then, I'll just be checking updates really quick. Boom. And we are live. Perfect. 2 people in the chat. What's up, guys? How's it going? Hopefully you're enjoying yourself. What is it? Today's Friday, I think. Getting closer to Christmas and the weekend. What's up, everybody? Bat Spidey. 43 people. Wow. That went fast. Went from 2 to 43 in like a second. What's up, guys? Ethan X, Nicola Jerkin, AMA, Fa, Lol, Malee, sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Ubi Allen, my main man. Moses, Orpeza, Moises, I'm so sorry for pronouncing that wrong. Copaje 23 or Copage 23, Side Washington. What's up, guys? Yes, Copage 23, I am ready for Spider-Man 2. I think we all are ready for Spider-Man 2. It's Drums 188. What's up, dude? Kenny, Zro, G, Devanad, Adhin. I'm so sorry pronouncing all these names wrong. I'm terrible at this. Jose Fuentes, Champis Sanchez, Victor Benitez, the amazing Spidey Frizz, Dark, and what's up, guys? Hopefully you're doing well. We'll wait a little bit longer until people start coming into the stream. Let's see, double check the audio settings are properly set. I do believe they are, yes. And yes, I am wearing the Uptown Pride suit because that's what we ended on last time in the last stream. Let's see, turn the Santa hat sideways, make it more noticeable. Boom. And as you can see behind me, it's all set up finally. The tree is here. And I do believe you can hear me. I believe my microphone is on. Yes. Perfect. I know that would be super embarrassing if that did not happen. What's up, guys? Arachnid Man, another guy on the internet. What's up, dudes? When do I think the sequel is releasing? Definitely not soon. Well, the interesting thing is, we've got kind of like conflicting reports because we have no clue when the sequel could come out now. Because they obviously just released Miles Morales and the remaster, so that's like enough to keep people over for Spider-Man stuff. And then Marvel, of course, is doing their own stuff with Avengers, and then the rumored Guardians of the Galaxy game, if that decides to be released or announced sometime next year. But they've also reported, like Sony themselves, that it's easier for developers to make games now on next gen with the PS5 and its assets. So I'm sure we won't get it until like 2022 or 2023, but I think an announcement for it might come, if we're lucky, by the end of next year or early 2022. It's definitely not happening anytime soon, though, because if you guys have also, follow me on Twitter, you use Twitter yourselves, you would know that Insomniac went online and said that like a few days ago, it was their last day in office. It was their last day in their development studio because now they're all going on holiday break, which is cool. And very, very happy holidays to everyone at Insomniac and Marvel as well. But in terms of like, are they going to announce Miles DLC or, stuff for the sequel or what's going on? I don't think so. I think that, they're done for this year. We got Miles, we got the remaster, and yes, this is still Miles on a PS4. I don't have a PS5. Rip to me. But yes, Dylan Hutchinson, thank you very much. POG69K, LOL. Yes, getting very close. Let's just jump right into it as well while we're waiting for more people. We'll do some more side stuff as well before we do the main mission. That crime is still here, right? I was like, where did they go? They just disappeared. Yes, we are very close to 70,000 subscribers, guys, all thanks to your amazing help. If we could get it by the end of the year, that would be amazing, to 70,000. I don't know if we'll be able to do that in like the span of a week, though. Like 1,000 subscribers in a week, that'd be insane. However, I will say for the channel itself, I won't spoil anything yet or ruin the surprise, but in terms of what you think could happen, for videos and stuff from me before the end of the year, I have been planning something massively, and the Spidey Squad knows this, as well as my buddy Luke Cullen, about, if you guys know, we did a video together collaborating about Spider-Man PS4 and the remaster about a certain topic I won't say, but if you have watched my videos, that name might sound familiar. I've been planning to do something ever since late September for the channel, and based on the things I've been able to coordinate with this person, I think we might be able to do something together on the channel on the 22nd of December. Or at least for me, we might be able to talk on the 22nd of December, and then I might upload it like the next day. But for right now, I would say I definitely have like a special holiday present to give to you guys on the channel with a special video. Hopefully, I can make that happen as soon as possible. I know that this person that I'm talking to has been incredibly busy recently, so we've been trying to work around his schedule as well as mine. And we have different time zones as well, so we don't know exactly when we'll be able to, do it properly and have like a thorough discussion with each other. But, and I think if you possibly are speculating who I'm referring to, I think you might know what I'm talking about. But there's a lot of exciting stuff happening if it does turn out to happen. If I'm able to have this happen, which would be insanely cool. And it would definitely give a lot of more insight to the game's development and overall, certain process of how games are made as a whole, and be more informed for you guys about SpiderMan PS4 and the remaster, and even Miles Morales going forward with the future of these games. So if I'm able to talk to this person, it would be, first off, amazing. As a hint, though, this would not be my first time talking to this person. So that would be amazing if I could talk to him again for the channel. However, this would be the first time I will be talking to said person digitally, because I've already talked to them physically in person years ago. But if I'm able to talk to them again through Zoom or something, I would love to do that. And although I don't know if this person has like a camcorder or a camera to show their face, because that would kind of defeat the purpose of the conversation if we didn't have one of those. But if we're at least able to get his perspective and hear him and his thoughts about the game as a whole and what's going on, that would be fantastic. I have a face cam, so you'll probably see my face, maybe not this person that I'm talking about, but if it's able to work out still, I don't know for sure, but we will wait and see. Let's see. Dylan, I'm a big fan of H2O. McCallum, what's up, dude? Have you seen the last 2 comments posted this video so far? No, I'm sorry. I've been just ranting about this thing. Someone asked if I watched The Mandalorian, though. I have not. You can spoil it for me if you want to, because I'm not, like, super into Star Wars as I am for, like, Marvel, for example. But I think I've seen something about it. Like, I won't spoil it for you guys if you guys don't want to get spoiled for the show. But I think it hints towards, like, what the next series is going to be, which is pretty cool. Although I am not, like, well informed enough in the realm of Star Wars stuff compared to Marvel. So all I know is that it pretty much is setting up a future story in The Mandalorian / Star Wars. And the narrative that they set up so far seems pretty cool. Moises Oropeza, will you still get the remaster? Yes, I will. Although I should say, yes, I already have. If I can even quickly look at it right now, I have the PS5 version of Miles Morales right here with the bundle. You can't really see that in the light, but that's right there, the PS5. It's still wrapped in the plastic, by the way, and then the remaster is the logo for it's right there. It's really dark to see, but I have the PS5 version, Ultimate Launch Edition, with the remastered bundle on top of it right here. Actually, I'm pointing in the wrong area. I have it, I just don't have a PS5. So that is depressing for me as a fan of, Spider-Man, of course, and even though I'm not a fan of the particular decision that Insomniac made with Peter, I still want to play the game fully remastered on next gen, because that would be a dream come true. However, I have been trying on like the PS Direct and the Qs and the Walmart website and Target, seeing anything I can to try and secure one online. Has not been happening, to no avail. Failed on like every front imaginable. But yeah, we've been trying, but who knows what will happen. Queese Grosum, Spectacular Spider-Man is one of the best shows. Yes, it is. I think it was also confirmed recently that it was added onto Netflix, which is pretty hype. I mean, I haven't been on Netflix recently, so I wouldn't know, but if that is true, that is awesome. Yes, Queese Grism, you're right. Heard the remaster is going to be sold separately now. Now, we do know that for the PlayStation Store on, you know, PS5. That is confirmed, which is very cool. Wow, this person will not stay down, huh? But we do not know if they're also referring to a possible physical release of the game, which I would love. I would love to see that. But right now, yes, you are correct that I believe either now or sooner or later that Insomniac is going to release the remaster for Marvel's Spider-Man as an individual release on the PS5 PlayStation Store, unlike another game which recently got super axed from the PlayStation Store, which we were kind of talking about in the previous stream about this game, not up to this avail of crazy news, but in the sense that Cyberpunk 2077 is so bad running on current-gen consoles of the PS4 and Xbox One, mainly the PS4 version of Cyberpunk on the PlayStation Store has actually been axed from the online marketplace, meaning that you can still buy and still play Cyberpunk on PS4 if you bought it physically, but if you're someone who has, and you can still play the game if you downloaded it digitally already, but if you're someone who has not bought the game yet, and you were planning to buy it physically or something for Christmas, for example, or whatever, you can't anymore because the game has now been taken off from the PlayStation Marketplace for PS4. I genuinely believe, I think this is true, that is like the first major next-gen / big AAA game ever to have ever been so bad at release that they've actually had to take it off of their online stores. That is insane. I mean, Avengers was pretty bad at launch as well. Fallout 76 was a massive disaster at launch, if you guys are aware of that game. But it's never been so bad in the sense that Cyberpunk has gotten this intense treatment. We've already worn the Uptown Pride suit for the last base. Let's go Spider Training. Let's switch it up a bit. Yeah, they are, yes, correct. Ultimate Spider-Man, they are offering refunds for the game because of how poorly it was received on current. In the sense that it's so bad, like if the refund process isn't even able to work properly, they're now just allowing the game to be completely unpurchasable on the PlayStation Store. Meaning like, oh, you were planning to buy, Cyberpunk on PlayStation and, PS5 through backwards compatibility or current-gen consoles for PlayStation. Well, you can't because the game is so poorly received and there's so many bugs and glitches and it's not even considered like a proper game at launch at all that now they just fully removed it. And I do believe this is like the first time a game of this magnitude has had this poor reception so bad that they had to completely remove it from the store. I don't think I've seen this been done for any other game of this size or scale. But man, it's just really bad for CD Projekt Red. And not so much for the devs, because they've obviously poured their heart and soul into making the game, at least a fun experience. And I'm sure they care about the game that they're making. It's more so like the higher up business decisions that the company has been making behind the scenes. Very manipulative with the review copies, not allowing people to share footage of the game on PS4, Xbox One. They can only review it on PC, and even then, they can only showcase the footage of the game that CD Projekt Red wanted them to show, like the B-roll footage pretty much. And my god, like the stock prices are dropping incredibly low. People are trying to refund the game, so the sales are going down. The stocks have like plummeted pretty much for the company. The reception of the company has been so poor that now, like in a recent emergency investor meeting, their most recent goal now is to try and reclaim the trust of consumers for the bad launch of Cyberpunk. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. I don't think I've ever seen a game been done this poorly in terms of a launch, other than, again, like, I almost said Cyberpunk again, Avengers or Fallout or maybe No Man's Sky as well, or Anthem as well. No, Miles! I literally just healed him, so I don't know how he died. That is insane. But first off, it's great that they are allowing refunds to happen in the first place for people to get their money back. But in the same sense, it's so bad that the game released in such a poor state that they had to even offer the amount of refunds that they are in general. So it's crazy, it's insane, and I have never seen anything like this. Although I am keeping up to date with all the recent news on Twitter and stuff. People are memeing the game like crazy. It's hilarious to see the bad reception that the game has garnered so far from people and just, you know, in general consumers who are not pleased with the game and the result that CD gave for the game in general. So, with how they could go forward with this, I would hope that they patch the game like they've already said they're going to do in January and February, but also that, oh, you know, we were planning to make the game like this. Like, absolutely not. No, you were not. They had such a poor reception that they knew what they were doing intentionally, releasing a broken product, and pretty much scam people into buying a game that was not properly running. So, who knows how they can reclaim this going forward. It's going to take a long time for them, guarantee you that, for them to reclaim trust and overall just intrigue from consumers about what the product is. But still, I hope that they can bounce back from this. Although, in the meantime, I'm just enjoying hearing, like, the news reports of, like, there was even, like, a BBC, you know, international news reporter, like, for, you know, a big national news program talking about this news as, like, a big story. Because it is a huge story. This has never been seen before in the gaming industry. And alongside of their reporting on the news, they also pretty much said, like, they pretty much joked about, like, a quote that CD Projekt Red gave, like, oh, we should have paid more attention on running the game properly. And then she was like, brilliant, genius. Like, she was making fun of them on national news. It was crazy. I'll probably retweet it later on my Twitter page, or you can probably just see the tweets that I've liked in my history. Still, it's like, wow, you know, they're memeing the game like crazy for Cyberpunk and just in general the game's reception. It's a whole meme at this point. Even more so that there's an entire post from CD Projekt Red themselves, like, answering a fan's question. This was like 2 years ago in 2018. Like, oh, are there going to be memes of Cyberpunk, like, just to celebrate the game and joke about it with the community? Like, will there be memes? And then their response was, the whole game will be a meme, but not in the way that they're hoping for now. Like, now the game is a meme in the sense of, like, it's one of the worst received games for an initial launch that's ever been shown for a next-gen release. So, that's insane. You know, I do not own the game. You know, I haven't bought the game at all. But I am aware of the company's history and the games that they've made in the past. And it's just crazy to see how far they've fallen in terms of public reception and just overall fanfare for a game that was looked forward to as much as this one was, and how poorly it's been received since its release. So, it's insane. That's kind of the Cyberpunk side of things. I kind of already said, if you're joining, welcome to the stream. Hopefully you're having a good day and just hanging out with me, talking about Spider-Man. I'll try and answer more fan questions on the side as well. I just want to kind of discuss what's been going on recently in the gaming realm. I will be trying to do a video soon on the 22nd on the channel, a full video with a very, very, very special guest who you probably can already assume who it might be. Whether or not it'll be uploaded the same day as the 22nd, I don't know for sure. I will be trying to do this collab with this person on the 22nd, but I might upload it to the channel a bit later on. And also in Spider-Man news, because there is some Spider-Man news, PlayStation held their own little, you know, personal fan choice awards for games in regards of, you know, reception and all that for like hosting like fan voted awards for games of current gen and next gen, so for PS4 and PS5. And Miles won for Game of the Year for PlayStation 5. Fans voted for Best Game of the Year for PlayStation 4 was actually The Last of Us Part 2, which is crazy. Again, I thought they were going to choose Ghost. But then for Best PS5 Game of the Year, you know, for just starting off with the PS5 console generation, they voted Miles. And Miles won, as well as Best New Character Introduced into games, and that's Miles Morales, you know, Najee Jeter. So Najee won and Miles won awards from fans voting online as like, oh yeah, this is the best new game for PS5, and this is the best character to come out of all these recent games, which is awesome. Definitely deserved. Huge win for them. I definitely love everything that Insomniac did with Miles' character in this game. I think it's a great way to modernize him more compared to the Spider-Verse version of Miles, which everyone loves, of course, but they still managed to do something unique and original in their own right without copying and pasting whatever they did in the previous iterations of the character, whether that be like the comics, TV shows, or even the, you know, Spider-Verse movie. And that's great. I'm just seeing a message on my phone. That's why I'm looking to the side. It says, for Californians, Emergency alert. State of California. All Bay Area counties now under state stay-at-home order. This builds on previous local orders. COVID-19 is spreading rapidly. Stay home except for essential activity. Wear a mask. Keep your distance. Visit covidca.gov. Excellent news, you guys. That's the perfect news to receive near a holiday break. Because in California, where I'm living right now, things aren't good. Also, why are there no cars in New York right now in this entire street? I'm sure we would see a lot more cars on PS5, but man, that whole street is barren, empty, with no one there. Shocking. There's some cars, and here's some cars, but no one over there at all. Interesting. Yes, you guys can hear me in the chat, right? I think you are able to. I made sure to turn on my mic for the PlayStation VR, or the camera. Instead, yes, Queez Grism, it's COVID season, not holiday season. It is indeed COVID season. Now, there's a side mission here. We'll do that, because that's just getting the programmable matter suit. There's all the Prowler stuff, which I guess we should do, but I am not a fan of these, so I'll probably skip them. So I'll do this one side mission with getting the suit, and then I think we'll do the Tinker Tailor Spider Soldier whatever mission for Finn, and meet up with her. Let's see, let's switch suits actually, because we wore that one. We wore Uptown Pride. The cat suit's pretty OP, but we'll choose the strike suit. Why not? Even though I'm not a fan of this suit, we haven't worn it a lot, so we'll go back to this one. Even though it's the daytime, why not? But yeah, there's a lot going on. Miles is getting success. Cyberpunk is plummeting. Avengers is kind of in the middle right now, you know, with the Kate Bishop DLC. People may have played it or not. I did play it. I talked about this in the previous live stream, so I'll just quickly go over it. It was okay. It wasn't anything mind-blowing, and it certainly doesn't really garner of someone returning to the game if you're someone who isn't a fan of it. I would say wait again until more characters are added for the story. But right now, it's just kind of like... At least it's better than nothing, but it's still close to nothing, because it's still the exact same stuff you're doing in the game. It's just that now you have another character to fight with, and that's not enough to garner people to come back to that game. Anyone mad that Fortnite didn't put Spider-Man in the game? I am actually shocked that they haven't done that yet, because they've done Venom, they've done the X-Men, they've done the Avengers, I think they've done the Guardians even, or at least they're gonna probably do the Guardians soon, I would think. I'm more surprised than mad, because I don't play Fortnite, so I'm not really in tune with that game. But for people who wanted to play it, yeah, it's certainly, or play the game with their favorite Marvel character, or our favorite Marvel character, Spider-Man, it's certainly a shock. We need to see Black Panther DLC and Spider-Man. In Avengers, you mean? Yeah, for sure. Well, they've already confirmed both of them. We just don't know when exactly they're going to be put into the game. Let's see. Diego Martinez, hey Evan, what's up, Diego? Hopefully you're doing well. Deshaun Baker, you can't give Spider-Man a gun. Says who? Who knows? Maybe that's a suit power down the line that we haven't unlocked yet. You don't know. Miles already has the exaggerated swagger of a black teen, so who knows if at one point he'll just pull out a Glock and then just shoot one of the underground members. I don't know. That'd be insane. I doubt it, though. I'm just kidding, but obviously no. Spider-Man he has a no-kill policy. Even though he's very hardcore when he knocks people off buildings, but yet they stick to the side of buildings when they're falling down to their demise. But still, for the most part, Spider-Man is he prefers to be non-lethal when he fights criminals. And I'm not a fan of the programmable matter suit, so we'll stick with the strike suit. Alright, so, yeah, 59% complete. We did all the side missions pretty much. Let's see over here, main missions. All the rest is like the collectathon stuff with like time capsules and the caches, and we did all the bases, and we did all the friendly neighborhood spider app stuff. That was the last stream. So now, yeah, let's just do the main mission and double check crime, break-in, activities. Yeah, no, we'll just go to the main mission and defeat Finn, because why not? Woo! The swinging tricks again. Fantastic. Let's see. What do you think Spider-Man 2 should be about? Says Jaden Yeldell. So we've already kind of discussed about this previously. You know, I get that question like almost every stream. Like, what do you want Spider-Man 2 to be? When do you think it's going to be announced? So I think we've pretty much said all that needs to be said. But at the same time, it's still fun to talk about it. So what I'm hoping for, again, is what's already been teased, of course, is the inclusion of the black suit, with Harry being Venom, with Norman being Green Goblin, with Yuri Watanabe being the Wraith, and Kirk Connors now being the Lizard. And I think that those are, of course, confirmed pretty much. It's safe to confirm them as the main antagonists of the entire sequel, like of the main story. As for who exactly that could be, probably like Doc Ock was the main antagonist of the entirety of Spider-Man PS4. Like, it was a red herring the entire time from the marketing that was going to be Mr. Negative, but Insomniac already previously said that Mr. Negative is not the main villain of Spider-Man PS4, and it's another character that they did not reveal yet. And even Brian Intar said, oh, my favorite character of the entire game has not been revealed yet. And, like, of course, who was that character? Oh, it turned out to be Dr. Octopus. So, for this, you know, who exactly could be the main villain of the entirety of the sequel? Is it Harry as Venom? Is it Norman as Green Goblin? Is it Kirk Connors as Lizard? Or is it going to be someone else? Right now, I am wanting it to be the symbiote / Harry as Venom, and see how Peter interacts with Harry after being gone from him for so long and knowing that he's sick. Because Mary Jane told Peter that Harry was sick, you know, when she investigated the penthouse and she discovered Harry's sickbed and the notes around the apartment complex, learning about, you know, Harry is getting this treatment, but she doesn't know that Harry was right there. You know, she doesn't know that Harry is kept in that tank in the secret laboratory room in Norman's penthouse. All she knows is that Harry is sick somewhere, but she doesn't know exactly where he is. So, same thing with Peter. Like, you know, the whole thing, like, hey, Peter from Norman, like, you know, it'd be great if you connected back with Harry. He should be back, like, the next year and start that business you were talking about, you know? Like, so, expand upon that and Peter and Harry's relationship with each other. We already kind of got some tidbits about them from the research stations and stuff like that in the first game, which is always fun to see. And obviously, we're going to get more involvement with them going forward in the sequel, since I would say the most disappointing element about Miles Morales was that the post-credit scene was already kind of a repeat of what we saw in the first game, you know? So, we'll keep the strike suit on, why not, for this mission. It was kind of already the same, sorry to cut you off, Genki, it was already kind of the same in the first game, in the sense that we saw Harry had the symbiote on him, and that he was teased as being Venom. In Miles, it was like, oh, he's awake now, and Kirk Connors is assisting Harry and Norman to help Norman kind of get Harry out of the tank. But in that same sense, it's like, well, we already knew that they were going to do Venom in the sequel, and they were hinting towards that. So the only different thing now is that they confirmed another character with Kirk Connors, which is cool, but they could have easily hinted at him in just a full sequel reveal or something. But in that sense, like, we're going to get the symbiote. We're going to get more Miles and Peter together, since now they're both own Spider-Man. You know, they've had their own adventures together in their own games. They've grown as Spider-Men, and now they're going to team up thoroughly in the sequel, which is obviously, again, I'm assuming, I think it's safe to say, will be a fully next-gen exclusive title on PS5 only. And the story with that, there's a rumor going around, which I don't believe right now, even though it kind of makes some sense, that the game could take place in Tokyo, which would be nuts. Meaning that the whole setting of the game will take place in a completely different country of Japan, which would be crazy. But the reason why I believe that slightly is because we've already had 2 games, 3 if you count Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered as well, in New York City. In Marvel's New York. So we've had Spider-Man PS4, Miles Morales in a winter version of New York. So if they do a sequel, if you do a sequel with them together as Spider-Man in a different setting of, you know, Tokyo or whatever, I think that'd be interesting, because that would be a setting that would be completely different from the previous 2 games, and also offer some variety of traversal and a completely new setting to explore. Although I don't know if I would rather see that versus, like, just expand New York more, because we still haven't explored Marvel's Brooklyn or Marvel's Queens, you know? So I think the majority of people, I think it's safe to say, would rather prefer exploring Marvel's Brooklyn, Marvel's Queens, and Marvel's Manhattan versus Marvel's Tokyo. Because that might get like the friend or foe territory. Friend or foe had you go across the entire globe to fight Spider-Man villains, which was insane. So, who knows what could happen next. But, you know, lots of possibility. Very excited as always. I don't think we're going to see an announcement anytime soon. I think the announcement for it might happen in 2021 or 2022, like late 2021 or mid 2022. Definitely not early of either of them, but it's going to be interesting, especially now, you know, they're working from home. They have restrictions of developers kind of like, you know, postponing projects because of COVID, sadly. So who knows how that might affect the sequel and the production of Insomniac's games going forward, but we will see. Let's see. Commando Rex, I'm looking forward to the MCU Fantastic Four movie. I don't mind John Watts being the director. Wow. Well, I'm happy for you, buddy. Me, I can't share the same sentiment, sadly, but I'm glad that you're excited. Batwing, do you think Spider-Man 3 will be a thing? Or could Miles count as a second game and Spider-Man 2 will be the last game? You're asking a lot here. So, I think what you're asking is, will the official sequel of Marvel's Spider-Man with Peter Parker after Miles Morales, is that going to be titled Marvel's Spider-Man 2? Or Marvel's Spider-Man 3, or Marvel's Spider-Man subtitle with something? I think it's safe to say it's going to be Marvel's Spider-Man subtitle, first of all. We're just calling it Marvel's Spider-Man 2, because that's the official sequel of the first game of Spider-Man PS4, Marvel Spider-Man 1. The sequel is what we're calling Marvel Spider-Man 2. What the official title of it could be, we have no idea. But I think they're going, you know, Miles is like, what they've already compared it to is like a fun spin-off game in a similar style of Uncharted The Lost Legacy, but it's not necessarily like a full sequel to Spider-Man PS4. It's like a more expansive tale to expand the lore of Miles and Peter in this universe, and with his own story, with Miles becoming Spider-Man. But in the sense that they're going to have a complete sequel with Marvel Spider-Man 2 down the line on PS5 only, that is yet to be revealed. Did Insomniac give the Easter egg where was Yuri at? Jaden Capilot asks. Do you mean Yuri Watanabe? No. In this game, there's been no hints or teases or inclinations of what is happening to Yuri Watanabe in the game. Yuri Lowenthal is obviously still Peter Parker like a pro, but so far it was only teased in Spider-Man, you know, PS4 or Marvel Spider-Man 1 or whatever you want to call it, in the DLC, the Silver Lining DLC, that Yuri Watanabe is becoming the Wraith. But in this game, Miles, since Yuri and Miles have never met, you know, it wouldn't make sense for them to like show Yuri as Wraith in this game. My buddy Carlos and I did a full collab about that, talking about could Yuri be the Tinkerer? Because she has kind of a similar mindset to what Wraith does, and her tech is similar to what Wraith could use as well. But it turned out to be Finn, you know, Finn Mason, you know, just a gender swap of the regular Finn Mason, from the Phineas Mason from the comics, and reiterated her character as Finn Mason in this game, which is a very cool decision. But for the most part, Yuri Watanabe is nowhere to be found. We have no clue where she's at. We have no clue what she's doing, but it probably is not good. It's probably not a good sign to see how far the dark path she's taken for her as Wraith. But we shall see. Adore an event. Very, very ominous. Alright, let's see. And I know the title is just talking about this as well. Like, I kind of haven't even talked about it yet, and it's already half an hour into the stream. But, you know, talked about collabs happening, you know, relatively soon, which I hope you're all excited about, which will be fun. We also have Miles winning awards from the fans, you know, Player Choice Awards for PlayStation users to see the game and voting it as, like, Game of the Year on PS5 and Best New Character of Miles Morales, which is great. So even though it didn't win at the Game Awards, it's still heavily praised by fans and their affection for Miles, and Marvel being received as a great studio with their games, as well as Insomniac with how well Miles is doing in terms of, you know, reviews and sales, of course, because it deserves it. And alongside of that, you know, more of the stream, we're doing that. But the main thing I want to talk about here in the video, oh, and Cyberpunk as well, we already touched upon that briefly. is what's happening for next year, 2021. You know, sadly, you know, COVID's not going away anytime soon, so that might still be a problem with going to like things like conventions or game developer interviews and stuff like that. And a lot of things from working from home could affect the production of these superhero games going forward. But we also have to look forward to two DC games, which I would be more than happy to cover if you guys want me to. But I think it's safe to say the majority of you guys only care about my opinions on like Spider-Man stuff. It's great that you guys also like to hear my thoughts on other games. But for the most part, the majority of people only care about the Spider-Man stuff, which is fine by me as well. But it's also in the sense that in terms of superhero games, if I were to do a video about Gotham Knights or Suicide Squad, it probably wouldn't receive as much reception as, say, like Marvel's Spider-Man 2 or even like Marvel's Avengers. Because I'm personally more interested in the Marvel stuff, and right now Gotham Knights is not intriguing me as much as I would like it to. Same thing with Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad less so because that comes out in 2022. We will probably see more of it in 2021, but the game itself is not releasing until 2022, until 2 years from now. So there's a lot to wait for that game, and I'm not really going to wait in terms of like how long we waited for SpiderMan PS4. Like, we were waiting forever for that game, and it paid off immensely. Like, that amount of excitement building up for like 2 years straight is not how I'm feeling for Suicide Squad as of right now, because it doesn't look like a game I'm all that interested in. The story seems kind of strange right now and kind of cliche in some aspects. Like, oh, the Suicide Squad just kill the Justice League, make Superman evil again. Like, okay. And granted, you know, it's taking place within the Batman Arkham universe, which is cool, but at the same time, like, is that going to be enough to sell people on the game? Just because it has that same connection to the previous franchise that Rocksteady worked on. And for right now, it's not working for me. I need to see gameplay, obviously. But I'm just kind of waiting until more is discussed and revealed for that game to give any sense of hype or intrigue for what the full experience could be. Now, Gotham Knights, we already have the amazing group of the Gotham Knights fans with Slickmoth and Kobe. You know, Kobe is Slickmoth, Salvage, Iron Gen, Luke Wayne. They're fantastic. They cover all the DC stuff on their channels respectively, and they're going to do a great job covering the game. If you're someone who's interested in what the game could be, definitely go follow and subscribe to them because they definitely deserve your support. And they know way more about Batman than I do. Like, I'm a, you know, intellect about Batman and Bruce Wayne and the Bat family as well, and elements of the Court of Owls and the Demon's Head and all that, but not as much as I am for, like, Spider-Man stuff, for example. Or Kobe and Salvage and Luke Wayne and Iron Gen are for Batman. Like, I'm aware of the lore. I'm just not like a full aficionado of it as, for example, as what I would be for Spider-Man. So that's where I would also feel a bit disinclined to talk about Gotham Knights in a video, like a full like news breakdown and stuff, because there have been developer interviews recently about features of the game, and so far it seems kind of subpar in how they're describing it. I need to see, we've seen gameplay of it already, but I need to see more gameplay of it in action, because before, I think they confirmed that was a pre-alpha build of Gotham Knights with the first gameplay demo they showed during DC Fandom, so I need to see more of it in action later on. Sidebar, I love this full-on little insight profile to these characters. We got Tombstone, Black Cat, and Prowler. But I love it. Black Cat, Cat Burglar, recently retired. Whereabouts unknown. So Felicia, she's had it. She's done with her ways. She's just chilling it out. You know, she got away. She helped Peter in the first game, obviously, get the data on Hammerhead and the drives and stuff to give to the cops and also help take them down. But also that she's now gone straight, or at least going straight, just like Peter and her did previously. If you read the Black Cat Strikes prequel comic, as well as her story arc in the DLC, the City That Never Sleeps DLC, kind of incentivized her to take a more heroic route after stealing stuff from the Magia and then go about her own way with Peter, separating paths. But now she's not really the Black Cat anymore. She's you know, gone straight, which is cool. My boy Franco Greco's here. I'm good, bro. How you doing? I'm doing fantastic. COVID is crazy, though. I read earlier that there's a literally on my phone right now, like an Amber Alert almost, an emergency statement saying that California is like on full lockdown, stay at home because COVID is spreading rapidly in the San Mateo County area, which is not good because that's where I live. So that's insane. Please, for me, guys, stay safe, wear a mask, be healthy. It's the holidays as well, and Black Friday's over, so it's not like there's any incentive for you guys to go outside or anything. Just stay inside, stay safe, and enjoy the holiday season. Drink some eggnog or anything if you have any. That'll put you in a good mood. But yeah, for DC stuff, you know, going forward, the main games for superhero elements for next year is mainly with DC. We're going to see more footage of Suicide Squad from Rocksteady, obviously, until it releases in 2022. But for Gotham Knights, that's confirmed to release next year, fully in 2021. So I'll probably react, obviously, to the trailers they show and the gameplay demos they release. But for, like, 101 videos, for example, like full-on breakdowns and news updates and developer interviews for it, I probably won't unless it gets me really, really hyped up. You know, that was kind of what I was doing for Marvel's Avengers, and that didn't really garner as much intrigue or excitement for when that game was being promoted either, because no one was excited for it. The excitement was dropping massively because the marketing wasn't all there. They didn't promote the game in the best way possible for Marvel's Avengers, which is why the game sold so poorly. Or one of the reasons why it sold so poorly in comparison to Spider-Man, which again is a fully exclusive game only on PlayStation, and it completely outsold every single Batman Arkham game, as well as the previous Spider-Man games in the past for Spider-Man PS4. And Avengers being a multi-platform game, and that statement from Yosuke Matsuda did not work out at all. Yes, Franco, may I join you one last time? Of course, buddy. Of course. Absolutely. Georgie Malasvi, I'm so sorry pronouncing that wrong. Avengers marketing sucked. End of story. 110% correct. I stated that in previous videos as well. Like, I was willing to give them the benefit of the doubt because we haven't seen the entirety of the game yet. But what they promoted for Spider-Man, for example, like, everyone was hyped beyond belief whenever Game Informer posts something new for Miles Morales. The excitement was not there at all for Avengers leading up to release, which is shocking. And for a property as massive as Avengers, was even crazier that they did that. That they didn't have like a full product to get people invested and hyped with. Charge the generator. I go where to do that? I forget. I go somewhere else. Yes, Finn, I know. I'm sorry, I'm blind, though. That generator over there? I thought that was later. I guess not. Let's see. No. I'm probably missing something. I'm trying to use the spider... Oh, there it is. Why did that pop up before? Unless I wasn't looking over at it. Bam. Alright, let's see. And yeah, this is puzzle time, which, by the way, I like these puzzles in Miles Morales, because it uses, like, the environment and your spider skills to try and do things to progress, instead of, like, you know, the, the Peter Parker Circuit Breaker minigame missions in Spider-Man PS4. Franco, if you want to join a party, you could invite me, and then I can try to join in with you, if you invite me over there. Let's see, generator over there. Move the crane into position over to the left side, yes. Of course. Boom. Nailed it, I think. Perfect. Blam. Finished. Oh, we probably shouldn't do that. Oh, wait, no, we can do that now, I think. And then I can move again. There we go. Bam! Oh, no, it broke off. I think. Right. Got it. So then... I see. So now, got it. We move it back. This puzzle is, like, multi-step, but also intuitive and fun. Power up the laser. Oh, down here? Wait, no. Oh, wait. Hold on. Go here. No, wait a minute. I know the bar's in the way. Invite sent. I will look at it as soon as I can. Let me see. Aim the web of the generator to the... Yes, game. I'm aware. I was trying to bring the thing back, right? Or maybe not. No, because then... Oh. Right. Can we bring it back, please? Pretty sure we have to pull this thing back, right? Glass is in the way, but... I'm very confused. Right, I know, but I mean, come on. Tether web, glass in the way, brain blast coming in like any 2 seconds. Yeah, Miles, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. For some reason, I can't pull the thing back unless I'm aiming at it incorrectly. I have to pull it back where it started. That's exactly what I'm trying to do, but I guess it's not allowing me to move, or it's attached to this, so... Can we disconnect this? I'm not sure if my brain is working at all right now. I don't know what's happening, because usually I've done this puzzle like 1,000 times. Pull it back. Miles, please. Can't even shoot a web down there. Weird. Let's see. Let's get Franco in here. I'll phone a friend. I'm not sure what's going on right now, but for some reason this is very embarrassing. I thought for like 1,000 times I've done this puzzle. For some reason I can't pull it back. What's up, bro? I am doing very well, except for some reason I am stuck on this puzzle for whatever God-known reason. This should not. This is very embarrassing. Probably got in the wrong. It says pull it back in the right position. Hold tether web, generator, shoot a tether to connect them. Didn't I just do that? Or like, am I crazy? It has to connect to the one over there, but like I have to pull the crane back, but for some reason it won't let me pull it back. Unless I'm not in the right position.
Did you disconnect the web from the moving crane?
I did not. Well, there's one on the left side, but for some reason, you know what? This is embarrassing. Restart last checkpoint from the ground up. Let's go at the top. This is sad. Franco, can you please ask Evan my question? I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat so terribly. Do you think Spider-Man 2 will get a sequel, or could it be the final game in the series? Absolutely not. Sony is going to milk this baby as much as they can. I'll guarantee you that right now. No. They're going to do as many Spider-Man games as they have. That's why, you know, fun fact, one of the main reasons why Sony bought Insomniac is to make more Spider-Man games. And it's working out incredibly well for them in a fantastic way. And, you know, they have Miles Morales. They are going to make the sequel, of course, Marvel Spider-Man 2. And whenever they have more stuff to unveil down the line, Ratchet & Clank, Rift Apart, which is also coming next year, which is going to be fun. But for the most part, it's finished. See, that's why... So I guess the web was connected, so that's why I couldn't get it back over there. But I thought I literally just did that, unless I did it wrong, in the wrong order, I guess. I couldn't move it back for some reason. I guess because I connected it to the generator, which now I can do this, if it can reach that far. Boom. Yes. Thank you. That's what I was trying to do. I know I've done that puzzle 1,000 times. For some reason, you guys saw I wasn't able to yank the crane back because the web was connected to that one while the crane was above me. So I think I just messed it up myself, but let's see. And then I can do this, obviously, and then I throw it to the wall. Of course. That was embarrassing, but we got it. Perfect. Done. Whew. Great. All right.
Good job.
Franco, our boys here, I think you guys in the chat can hear Franco. I'm pretty sure you can, but...
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
You guys can? Perfect. So, Franco is here. I would like to ask you, my man, about all the news that's been going on recently with Cyberpunk, and also just, I guess, your expectations for 2021. Because Marvel, you know, if you guys remember, Marvel's in a multi-year, multi-game partnership with Square Enix. So Avengers is not just a one-and-done thing. They're going to make more games, and the one that's teased next is Guardians of the Galaxy, which is supposedly going to be fully open world, you know, AAA space exploration, and not like Marvel's Avengers where it's live service, level-based, loot and shoot. It's more like in the sense of Spider-Man, or probably like maybe No Man's Sky, I guess. But for Marvel, in the sense of the game world, that's what's going on for Marvel is Guardians.
next for what we know now. And of course, maybe Spider-Man 2. We just don't know when they'll announce it. Same thing with Guardians. But right now, it's Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and Guardians of the Galaxy that are most likely what's happening next for Marvel games. And then for DC, we have Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, as well as Gotham Knights, which is going to be interesting. But for you, Franco, out of all those games, for Spider-Man, Guardians, Gotham Knights, or Suicide Squad, which one are you the most hyped for? Or maybe even just a game in general for 2021 that we may have not talked about recently that are you interested in? Is it like Ratchet or like any like the PS3 stuff, or PS5 stuff, I mean?
Honestly, like besides Spider-Man 2, I'm very excited for Gotham Knights coming out next year. I want to see more of that game. I'm very excited for Suicide Squad now that Rocksteady's back making games after their little bit of a break after Arkham Knight. So I'm very excited to see more of that. Yeah. I'm also like happy to for Ratchet and Clank as well. Which actually, fun fact, I still haven't played the 2016 Ratchet and Clank game or any other Ratchet and Clank games at all. So I still need to go back. I have it on in my library. I just haven't played it yet. So maybe I'll start that soon after I finish.
Holy smokes, there's so many enemies right here. Sorry. That just scared the heck out of me. There were so many Rockstar guards behind those boxes. But yeah, and it's cool that you say that, though, because now you can play Ratchet and Clank again if you want to through backwards compatibility with PS5.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I mean, other than that, I don't know when the sequel to Horizon Forbidden West, I don't know, is that coming out next year, or...?
I think so. That or God of War, one of the two. I think, well, God of War actually is next year.
Well, I know God of War. Yeah, I know God of War is next year. I'm
Horizon,
not sure about Horizon,
have they even given a date yet? I don't know about that one, but that one is going to be super fun. And that one is cross-gen, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, it's also going to be on PS4 as well. I think they confirmed
that one is actually cross-gen, which is crazy. Whereas for Insomniac, that's not the case for Ratchet, which is already the first inclination that Spider-Man 2 PS5 exclusive, because they are making Ratchet & Clank only on PS5. Rift Apart, I should say. So that already should tell you guys in the chat that if you're wanting Marvel Spider-Man 2 to be a cross-gen game because you're not able to get a PS5, I think it's safe to assume with that notion already that Marvel Spider-Man 2 is most likely going to be a PS5 exclusive game. And I'm happy for that, actually, because I want it to be a PS5 exclusive game, because that way they can have more assets and more power to utilize next-gen to its max potential.
Uh-huh. For sure, for sure.
Let's see.
But
yeah, God of War and Horizon Zero Dawn are going to be fantastic.
Horizon,
actually, besides... I think, well, it came out in 2017, I forget, but besides Horizon Zero Dawn and I think Breath of the Wild, even though I haven't played it because I don't own a Switch, but Breath of the Wild was just a fantastic game for Link and Zelda.
Yeah, it is.
Horizon Zero Dawn was my game of the year for 2017. That's right, because Detroit Become Human came out 2018. I was going to say either that or Detroit, but Detroit came out in 2018, and Horizon came out in 2017. 2017 for Horizon was fantastic. And if they do a sequel again with expansive open world and more combat capabilities and more robot dinos, that's a win. That's a fantastic win. I'm so hyped. And I can't wait to see like the comparisons between that on PS4 versus PS5. Because I'm like, unlike Cyberpunk, where it can't even run a solid 30 frames per second on PS4, Miles, surprisingly, looks and runs fantastic on a PS4 Pro. And that's just like the benefit of Insomniac developing the game on one platform only, because it's an exclusive compared to Cyberpunk, which is running on like 8 to 9 different platforms, next gen, current gen, PC, the Pro consoles of those. So it's like, my God. I thought he just already hit himself with that tank, but my God, Rhino's just trying to kill me right off the bat, huh? Holy sheesh.
Yeah, I gotta ask you, because I don't know if you were talking about it earlier before I joined, but yeah, what are your thoughts on Sony pulling Cyberpunk from the PlayStation Store?
Yeah, we did talk about this earlier, and I'm just like astounded, because that's never, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's never been done before for a massive AAA game release as big as Cyberpunk, specifically for how long that game's been in development, how many people have been excited for it. and to see it get such a
Yeah.
poor reception from people, but also in the sense that it came out in such an unplayable state, mainly, is just the craziest thing about that.
Yeah.
And to such a degree that it is not able to run at all on current gen, to the point that Sony felt the need to step in and take it off of the store, is crazy. So that again, their stocks are dropping, the review scores are already plummeting as much as they are, firsthand. So they're dropping even more now. And how that is on current gen, because again, you can play the game on next gen with PS5 and Xbox Series X, but you're still playing the game via backwards compatibility. So you're not playing the full game on next gen yet. You're actually still playing the game on current gen, just on an enhanced platform. So because of that, the experience is belittled in the sense that you're not getting the best experience that you possibly could have gotten if wanted to. And they knew what they were doing ahead of time, CD Projekt Red, or at least the developers, not the developers, the leaders in charge of the company and their, finances and their business orientation plans, and how bad of a job they did for this is crazy. And they knew what they were doing, ahead of time. Like, they knew the game was in a poor state for PS4 and Xbox One, but they had to do it because the holiday season. They had to release the game because they got to get those incentives and purchases and pre-orders down, even though they already did. Like, it's one of the most pre-ordered games of all time. And they made their money back in the first day. But the cost of that is that the reception and the trust that they bonded with consumers is pretty much gone now, in the span of like a solid week. Compared to like the years and years and years they took to make the game, that is now all wasted, pretty much, which is crazy.
I know, and that's very crazy. Like, and it sucks to see, like, I bet you there's probably, like, so many, like, incredibly, like, passionate, like, people on the developing team that wanted to, like, this game to, like, feel good and, like, play right, but just,
Right.
maybe just due to, like, the time constraints and all that, like, stuff, but, like, it's nothing wrong. Like, I hope that they can, like, turn this thing around. But still, like, they've lost a lot, like, their stocks dropping, and then, like,
Right.
like, have their game, like, pulled off the PlayStation Store in order to get a refund. Like, it's crazy, like, what's going on with the situation for Cyberpunk. But I just
It's
hope that
crazy
everything...
because they were wanting this game to like be a game changer, like what they promoted too, like, oh, it's breathtaking. Like Keanu Reeves, of course, you'll never see a game like this in your entire lifetime because it's so unique and different. And then and the funny thing is, oh my god, Brandon's about to murder me. They said, like, the very first trailer when Cyberpunk was announced, in first, like, 2013, 2012, the game will come out when it's ready. How'd it come out? It was not ready. So, and I don't know if that has to do with the amount of technology changing, so they had to kind of switch their development point from current gen to next gen, or they had to, like, accumulate for a lot of stuff they're trying to input within the game. Because they're trying to be so unique and different with the product. And like, oh, this has never been done in an open world game before. This has never been done in an open world game before. And then they did it, and it just came out really, really subpar. And granted, like, if you're playing on PC, you're probably playing fine. Like, it's probably a great game, has a lot of unique assets to it. The first-person / RPG elements are probably very intriguing for that type of genre. I'm more like the third-person RPG stuff, so like Mass Effect, like Shepard, you build your own Shepard, or Persona 5, again, my game of the year, Persona 5 Royal, pretty much. Fantastic masterpiece. Akira and Kasumi are canon, confirmed. But for Cyberpunk, you have the same stuff, like you can romance Judy, or Panam, I think her name is, for the male V or female V, or whatever you do. So you have all these choices, all these different opportunities and decisions to explore Night City in. The free roaming is interesting. The city's wide and vast. Although, for a game that takes place in 2077, just a sidebar, and there's flying cars, from my knowledge, you cannot drive one of those flying cars in the game. That's kind of disappointing, to be honest. That's actually crazy.
That is a little bit disappointing.
That is actually insane. So, in that sense, there's a lot of things that you can do, and there's a lot of things that you can do. Some people say it's like a great step forward where they can take RPGs. Some say it's like the exact same stuff you've seen in every other RPG, or they don't fully utilize the elements of the RPG instead, and they kind of opt for a more first-person-esque type of game. And it's like, oh, you know, people were expecting like GTA 5 2077. You know, but that's not really what the game is at all. See, I was not expecting GTA 5 2077. I was just expecting a good game. And the fact that we didn't even get that for base consoles is very disappointing. So I don't feel any sympathy for them, for like the decisions at least, for what they're doing. I guess I feel bad for the developers who put all their time and effort into making the game at least an interesting experience, but they did it to themselves, just like Avengers. You know, they bit off more than they could chew, is the thing. And that's why I'm not like, oh my god, CD Projekt Red is in turmoil. Oh my god, they've been so great to the fans. Like, no, they lied to people. They withheld the footage of the game on reviews for base consoles, so they intentionally hid the bad footage of the game for consumers because they knew it was not a proper product to market for people just yet. They left people in the dark. They lied. They sold people a unfinished product with money. And by the way, reminder, I don't know if you guys remember this, it wasn't just like the base game. There's also people who purchase like the collector's editions or special editions and stuff. So you're spending $200+ if you're paying for those, or the limited edition Xbox consoles, because they have that as well, because they have their partnership with Xbox for
my
a
game
price.
crashed. Yeah, my game crashed just now. Wonderful.
It's insane, you know, and it's like way worse than what it should have been at all. Like, people weren't expecting like game of the century. They were just expecting a properly developed game, and that's all that we've asked for since day one, we being the consumers. But as the consumer, if they're not receiving that product, then you bet your butt they're going to be complaining to the company that's making these decisions. And the fact that these decisions are so poorly invested with the consumer market and the fans, it's just not a worthwhile product to waste your time and money into, which is why people are wanting to get their money back with refunds, or just wait until the game is fixed with the patches. You know, the patches coming in January and February. Once they include those, hopefully the game will run better on base consoles. But for now, it's like, well, we'll wait and see. But whether or not they'll recuperate their trust from fans, or their income as well, is TBD. It's yet to be determined. But right now, I'm like, same thing with Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics, same situation for CD Projekt Red. Like, I feel no sympathy for them because they did this to themselves. So once they can rectify their mistakes, then I'll be happy. Yes, our main man, Spidey Outcast, Andrew, can I join the party? Yes, you can, of course. Franco, would you do the honors of inviting him if you could?
Of course. That'd
be fantastic. Yes. Michael Courtney, hey Evan, so I have one question. Yesterday when I asked you about the air dodge, what I actually meant was the fact that it doesn't have something. I'm assuming you mean more like maneuverability or something, or it's not as like smooth as Miles, or the air dodging could be better. I would say probably have more air combat implemented in the game. Like, don't do the web strike system from Web of Shadows, but do something unique and interesting with air combat, with webs and like air combat, because you can do air takedowns, air combos, and like a ground pound. That's kind of it, but they could do a lot more for sure, if that's what you're kind of hinting at. I forget, Andre Aviaz, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Any news on John Bubniak? We kind of discussed some stuff earlier. I won't say yes or no, but I mean, I would just say stay tuned. I would say stay tuned. Oh, I meant it doesn't have. You mean it? Well, I don't know what you're talking about. Miles has exaggerated swagger enough, so that's fine. He's all good on that front. If you mean Peter, the exaggerated, depression of a millennial white middle-aged man, then I mean, I guess we gotta include that in the next game. But I don't know. We'll see though. We'll see though. Yes, Ryan Platts. They're talking about developing multiplayer right now. Shaking my head. Do you mean for Spider-Man? We kind of talked about that in the last live stream. Like, if they do a multiplayer element in Spider-Man 2, I would also hope that they still focus heavily on the story, because that was the problem with Marvel's Avengers, is that they focused more. They structured a co-op multiplayer live service game. I actually haven't seen the scene with the strike suit on. That looks kind of cool with the pop collar. They focused more on a co-op live service looter shooter grinding game instead of the single player. They put the single player element second after the main structure of the multiplayer. So for Spider, do the opposite. They put the single player first and then surround the co-op, revolving it around, which is what I'm hoping for the most. Miles is busted up, man. That's rough. But yeah, Danielle Anzaldi, the sequel needs to take that parkour-centric gameplay with L1 being the parkour button combining with the other buttons for different actions. That sounds fantastic. And that was actually what we were hoping for initially with Spider-Man PS4, with the cafe scene, which sadly is not in the full game, but where he's running on the table, he's going on the side of the walls, he's webbing through a window, so you're controlling each of those actions, right? And same thing with Miles, they kind of did that for Miles' games. So you can do the air tricks, you're dive bombing, you're pressing L3, and then you press and hold square, whether you're dive bombing forwards or backwards to do certain tricks, and then you can twist it around and do the venom jumping while incorporating that. So that would be as well, with the symbiote involved, you're going to be faster, you're going to be stronger when Peter's wearing the black suit, so you definitely got to incorporate that more for how Peter's traversing. He's going to be a lot more ferocious, he's going to be a lot more detailed with the way he's traversing, which is going to be different from the first game, because he's same thing with Miles. Miles has a few similar animations to Peter, but for the most part, his swinging style is completely different from Peter. So the same thing with the sequel. Once Peter wears the black suit, that's going to be completely different from how he's wearing the red suit, the advanced suit. So I'm hyped for sure. Quacardo007, I'm sorry I pronounced that wrong. Would you want to see web wings in the sequel to glide for a few seconds? Absolutely not. I do not want that, because that is pretty much defeating the purpose of the swinging. Granted, if they change the setting so that way there's less buildings to swing from, then I guess. But I don't want it as a manual incorporation for his swinging, when already Peter had the Easter egg for that in the first game, saying that, he tried to make the web wings work, but it never could. But they look cool. So it's harking back at the Spectacular Spider-Man, or the classic comics where he has the web armpits. That was what those were referring to. So they already hinted that they won't do that in the sequel, which I'm very happy for, because that way they can focus more on the parkour, focus more on the swinging, the wall running, the traversal mechanics with the air tricks, symbiote gameplay, how that's going to affect maneuvering around the city with how he swings and fights and crawls. I'm very excited for that, for sure. Let's see. Right. But yeah, I think, Franco, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, for you, I know we kind of talked about this previously, but just again for the audience, since they're very inclined to hear our thoughts on the sequel, what feature out of everything else that you can think of for Black Suit Spider-Man specifically, because that's already been teased in both games now. The black suit is going to be in, what is it? It's going to be in the sequel, because Harry's wearing it. He's going to be Venom, but it's most likely also going to make its way to Peter, and he's going to wear the black suit as Black Suit Spider-Man. We've talked about what we want to see in the sequel in terms of the story or gameplay, but for you, Franco, specifically for the black suit itself, what is one element that you need to have for Peter in the black suit in the sequel? Would that be for combat capabilities, or swinging speed, or the story elements? What thing for the black suit do you want to see the most? You give your answer, and then I'll give my answer, because I already know what my answer is for sure, and it might surprise you guys what my answer is.
Okay. That's tough, because I want to see what they do with his combat, see if he's gonna be doing destruction, throwing cars, or kind of Web of Shadows, where throws cars, or uses tendrils to grab enemies from afar. I really want to see what they can do to kind of vary between using the advanced suit and the black suit in terms of combat. For swinging, I already know it's going to be he can swing faster or jump farther, so I just want to see how they can differentiate him from the advanced suit to the black suit when it comes to combat.
Right. If they go, which I hope they at least look at the game, Brian Intar, said previously, even for the, for Spider-Man PS4, that they looked at all the previous games. You know, so they've done their research. They know what works and what doesn't. They know how they can utilize it for even the Batman games. You know, they even said they looked at Rocksteady's games to get a sense of how the superhero formula works for a character like Batman, and then, of course, how they, as Insomniac, can incorporate their own formula and their own gameplay structure for a character like Spider-Man. Unlike the frickin' Far From Home writers, where they've never seen the previous Spider-Man movies. Ridiculous. Sidebar. That's just the stupidest thing, by the way. I completely forgot about that. Someone brought it up as like a side topic. They confirmed that the writers for, you know, the MCU Spider-Man films, for Homecoming and Far From Home, because they're the same writers for both movies, have not seen any of the previous Spider-Man films. That is just insane. Like, that's not to say they have to copy and paste the movies and make their own version of Raimi's films, for example, but they should at least do their research and see, oh, people really liked Spider-Man 2 for this reason. People really liked Into the Spider-Verse for this reason. But they really didn't like Spider-Man 3 and The Amazing Spider-Man 2 for these reasons, you know? So it's like, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
So, unlike them, Insomniac have looked at all the previous Spider-Man games. Insomniac have looked at all the previous Batman games. They've done their research, and they know what they can incorporate into Spider-Man sequel for the black suit. Whoa, people just popping up out of nowhere. That's great. For Spider-Man 2, my, want/need for the black suit specifically actually isn't combat, actually isn't swinging, because I'm sure they'll do a great job with that no matter what, especially since it's going to be a PS5 exclusive. For me, and this harkens back again to the main, issue I currently have now, has to do with Peter Parker's portrayal. With the story implementation of how Peter is going to utilize the black suit as, evil Peter / more, intense Peter, mainly with Yuri Lowenthal's performance and, of course, the character model of Ben Jordan. Because there were some really emotional moments with Peter in the first game through John Bubniak. Now, sure, again, we've talked about this already. Ben Jordan does do a great job filling the role as what he is, because he's just doing a job. That's not his fault. That's just Insomniac's decision to incorporate him as their new Peter Parker going forward, because they believe it resonates more closely to Yuri Lowenthal's performance. Still don't believe that reasoning, but that's what they've said. So, with that in mind, Ben Jordan, is going to be the one wearing the black suit in the sequel. That's exactly what's going to happen, and that's the story implementation that they're going to utilize going forward with this Spider-Man franchise, using Ben's face as Peter. So, with the scenes that we're most likely going to get with the black suit, seeing Peter and Harry fight as Venom, and Peter wearing the black suit, he's going to be more angry and more, ferocious with combat and more aggressive, and obviously the story reasoning is going to have a lot of mature themes, I'm assuming, because of what the black suit represents for Peter. I need Yuri Lowenthal's black suit performance and Ben Jordan's face model while he's wearing the black suit to really exude a lot of heartbreak, a lot of anger and pain and sorrow, but also like frustration and sadness, and like what they're going to do for his character and how the black suit is going to evolve Peter's character even further. The story of what the black suit represents for Spider-Man as a whole really needs to reflect through the performance with Yuri and Ben, and how that combined can deliver possibly one of the best representations of the black suit we've ever seen. Because so far, for me, the best representation that we've seen of the black suit is, in any form of media, is either A, the Ultimate Spider-Man game, or B, Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yes.
I would not even say Spider-Man 3 or Web of Shadows. Now, Web of Shadows does do a really good job of doing a lot of heart-wrenching moments while he's wearing it, but not so much as like what we saw in Spectacular Spider-Man or Ultimate Spider-Man. Even the comic of Ultimate Spider-Man does the black suit story great, because of it's not an alien, it's a thing relating to Peter's past, of his father and his work, and how that relates also to his history with Eddie Brock and their universe where they're friends, and they're kind of doing the same thing as well here, where Harry and Peter are great friends. Peter knows Harry, they've had history with each other, but they have not seen each other for a while. So how that could affect their bond going forward, and how the black suit could affect that, is going to be very intriguing to dive into, and their past chemistry and connections with each other, and how they could either how that could either help or hurt their bond with the symbiote attached to both of them is very, very exciting. And I want to go not like dark in the sense like it's depressing and sad, but like mature and intense, and like how they're going to utilize the symbiote for Peter and Harry's characters going forward. That is what's going to matter most to me as a fan. The combat will be great. I'm sure they've learned from Miles and the first game with the remaster where they can improve. The swinging, of course, they've already shown massive upgrades with Miles and his swinging, so that's going to be probably perfect in the sequel. But the symbiote's story inclusion is where I'm the most intrigued by. And like the heart-wrenching moments where we saw with like John Bumniak's character model with Dr. Octopus, now he's just in the red suit, you know, that was standard Peter Parker stuff with no symbiote attachment, how that could affect it even more with the symbiote for dealing with a character like Harry Osborn and Peter and their friendship, how that's going to affect Peter's structure as a hero is what's going to be super crucial to break down. Like, is the symbiote going to like ruin his life or make it better? Or do both? Like, that's what we've kind of seen. Like, we've seen it first help him a lot, and then it goes into the bad territory. But man, like, you know, we don't know how that could go even more down the line. But that, for me, as a fan of the stories of these characters and the character of Spider-Man as a whole, that's what has me the most hooked. And I can't wait for that.
Yeah. So, you know, speaking of the sequel, like, you know how, like, I know Kirk Connors is gonna like probably play like a major role in the story. Does that mean that we'll probably see the Lizard, since Peter's already like taken on Dr. Connors when he was a Lizard?
Right, because we do know that Peter and Dr. Connors have a history with each other in this game's universe. Because in the first game, with the Easter egg, we saw that Peter made a cure for the Lizard using his blood, Dr. Connors' blood, by reverse engineering it, and then he made the cure to give to Dr. Connors to revert back from the Lizard form to normal, regular Dr. Connors. However, Peter specifically said it did not last. So in the first game, we have no clue what the status of Dr. Connors was / is, in the sense of, like, is he still the Lizard? Is he in the sewers? Is he just hanging out, you know, eating people? Or is he, like, actually in control of his Lizard state? Like, how's that work for him? So now we see exactly what that could be. So now he's working with Norman to help Harry get out of the tank, because he's aware of the you know, ramifications of the symbiote on Harry, and he's, you know, working alongside him, like saying his vitals are stable, everything looks clean, but that the ramifications of letting him out could be severe. And who better to know that than Dr. Connors, you know, letting things, you know, go out or let something out on New York before it's fully tested, like the Lizard. Probably made in an accident, you know, with his arm, trying to regenerate with the Lizard DNA. So how that could affect the narrative inclusion with Peter is one or two things. One, they follow that up with knowing that Peter is, you know, has history with Dr. Connors in this universe, and he meets him and he sees him with Norman. He's like, you know, Doc, what are you doing here? Are you helping Harry? Like, he's going to be confused, like, oh my God, you know, you're helping Harry. Thank you so much. Or is it that they go the route where Miles, they teased it in Miles' game, where Peter is going to be a teacher of sorts, but he's going to be teaching alongside of Dr. Connors. You know, where does Dr. Connors work? Is he working at ESU? Is he working at Oscorp? Is he working... he's working alongside of Norman Osborn, but what is he doing after that? You know, what is he doing when he's not helping Norman? Does he have a job? Is he, like, out of prison? Like, is he wanted for, you know, the, you know, deaths of people if he somehow killed someone or whatever? Like, is he, like, in control of his Lizard state? Like, there's so many possibilities. There's so many possibilities what they could do for Dr. Connors, and that's what has me the most excited for all these games, is where the story can go for the characters at hand. Like, the character of Dr. Octopus was so unique in SpiderMan PS4. The character of Norman Osborn has a lot of stuff going on for him in you know, his story, turning into the Green Goblin, Harry possibly being Venom, Yuri Watanabe becoming Wraith over time slowly because of her relationship with Hammerhead. how that wasn't really in the comics. Usually it was relating to Mr. Negative, but in the game they made it to Hammerhead. So they can do whatever they want, and that's the coolest thing about this game. About all these games, really, is like the infinite possibility of where they can take the Spider-Man formula next. Let's see. He's taking out the holograms. I'll bring out my holograms. Fight fire with fire. Why not, Uncle? Bam. Boom. Ganging up on him with all the holograms. Why not? That's rough. Snap. He just left. Oof. Pallet to the face. All right. Ooh. Disappeared again. Oh, boy. There we go. Woo! Wrecking him like it's next week. Okay. Kick him. Bam. There we go. And Venom Punch. Boom. Ouch. I'm playing this on Ultimate difficulty, by the way, so this is very intense. In the sense that the difficulty is raised. The stakes. Oh! Just got one hit on me. Bam! Where is he? Get rid of these holograms. Oh! Uncle Aaron, no, how dare you? Get a sucker punch on me. Yeah, but I'm very excited. Like, Lizard could be... I put this on Twitter last night. Lizard could easily be one of the biggest highlights of Marvel Spider-Man 2 if he is done justice. I don't know if this is a hot take. I'm actually not a fan of the Lizard and his portrayal from the Amazing Spider-Man 1 movie. I thought it was kind of lackluster, and I actually did not like Risa Fons as Kirk Connors. And Kirk Connors is an amazing character, but the actor that they got to play him was okay, but not like anything out of this world awesome. Like, oh my god, Alfred Molina is Dr. Octopus. Oh my god, Willem Dafoe is Norman Osborn. Like, Risa Fons was okay as Dr. Connors, but it wasn't like my go-to choice, or like he didn't really do anything that special with the character in my eyes. But I don't know. Like, so I hope they don't go that route with Dr. Connors in the sequel. I hope they do something a bit different and something more emotional. And if they introduce like Martha and Billy as well, you know, Martha and Billy Connors, that would be very cool, because that would give you a lot of emotional investment for for Kurt and his story. So we'll see. But I don't know if they're able to juggle all that with Norman, with Harry, with Yuri as Wraith, because they got to follow up on that as well. With Dr. Connors as the Lizard. They've already established that, but most people may not know that. Most people are like, oh my god, it's Dr. Connors. Who is Dr. Connors? Some people may not even know about who Dr. Connors is, shockingly enough. Us, as Spider-Man fans, know, but the casual player may not like... they saw Harry at the end of the first game with the black substance around him, and that knew instantly, oh, that's teasing Venom in the sequel. Great. But then when they just saw at the end, like, Kirk Connors was the subtitle name, if they didn't pick up on that, then if they didn't see the guy with the one arm, because it's kind of hard to see him with one arm in the shot there, because he's hidden by the green tank fluid, and you're looking from Harry's perspective, so it's kind of hard to see. They may have not caught on that was Dr. Connors, a.k.a. the Lizard. And they may only know about the Lizard from mainstream media from the movie, The Amazing Spider-Man 1, which was not really the best movie. It was a good movie. It was not the best. And I actually was not a fan of the Lizard's design in that film. It looked too human. I guess that was the point, maybe, that he was like a humanoid lizard, but it kind of looked a bit weird in my opinion. And the weird deleted scenes that they had of him licking the student's face in the bathroom, that was super stupid. But yeah. That was just the weirdest thing. Andrew, if you're here, you remember that, right? That scene in The Amazing Spider-Man 1? They had a deleted scene where they had the Lizard lick some girl student's face in the bathroom because he was trying to go after Peter. And he's like, yeah, let me just scare these students for a second. Like, what are you doing? Dude, I'm confused. Okay,
first of all, why would you record something?
Very strange.
No, why would you record something like that? Like, no, why would you record that?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, Andrew. Boom. How's it going? In the chat, can you guys hear Andrew?
Nothing much.
Okay, whoa.
Oh boy, whoa man, whoa.
Okay, whoa.
Maybe mute your mic a little bit, Andrew, if you could.
Yeah, you got
or turn down your volume,
or
unplug your mic and plug it back in if possible. That was, oh boy. Sorry if that hurt anyone's ears in the chat.
It hurt my ears a little bit.
Oh man, well, you can't hear Andrew yet. Thank you, Superior Chris. Probably you can't hear him in the best way.
Is that better?
Oh boy. Do you have any other mic you have at your disposal, Andrew? Or is that the only one?
It's the only one I currently have. Here, let me
boy.
try and fix.
I would say maybe turn your volume way down if you could, or just try and plug it out, or unplug it and plug it back in if possible.
Uh-huh.
All right, boys, so now we are in the final mission. This is shocking.
Woo!
I was not expecting to get to
Is
this
this
point,
better
but we are
now?
actually at the final confrontation between Miles and Finn with an upcoming flashback to younger Pete and younger Otto Octavius, which I will tell you made me almost cry when I saw it because I love this version of Otto Octavius so much. I was just depressed that it was Ben Jordan's model instead of John's. I'm like, fuck, that just took me out of the whole experience when I saw that. I probably would have broken into like full-on tears if I saw that scene with John and William Sawyer's Otto in that scene in the flashback. But I was like, nope, they're gone, or he's gone. And it's just some imposter, but whatever. But yeah, that was... my thoughts are, there's a lot of potential to answer those questions about what the sequel could do. Black Suit, I need there to be an intense story with the Black Suit, going the darker route and more mature theme elements for Peter and his character for the story of the sequel. But for Kirk Connors, I want them to do something similar to either the new animated series iteration, where he was like hell-bent on trying to get the formula to work to get his arm back, or maybe the Ultimate version, where it's a similar situation, where Peter has already fought the Lizard in that universe, Dr. Connors as the Lizard in the Ultimate comics, but he was working alongside him to do some research about Peter's blood and do an autopsy on him pretty much and learn more about the genetically enhanced iteration of Peter's DNA and how that could affect science and medical field experimentation and discoveries. But for that universe, that actually ended up creating Carnage, which could tie into the symbiote as well for the game if they go that route, which would be very, very cool if they decide to do that, which I would actually prefer a lot more than the new animated series version, because that would give a whole lot of different showcases of the symbiote and expand upon that more. And if you could introduce Venom in this game and the Black Suit, then you could also do Carnage and how that could affect the game's universe as well, which would be crazy. So I am very pumped for that if they decide to go that route. But yeah, there's a lot of potential here. I'm sure Insomniac will do a great job. It's the same writing team as well, with Mary Kenny and John Paquette and Brian Intar leading the frontier of the whole story and how that could affect it going forward as well, because he's like the head honcho of it. Bill Roseman and Brian Intar are like the leaders of the band, deciding where they can take the story of Spider-Man, with Sony giving them free reign to do whatever they want. But for the main, like, who's in charge, that's Brian and Bill, with John Paquette and Mary Kenny and Ben Arfman leading the frontier for the story itself. But where they can go forward with the sequel, we will just have to wait and see. But for the most part, it's endless potential, lots of possibilities, very exciting regardless, no matter what they do. I just hope that they don't do like a Far From Home thing and just completely just do a 180 and say, you know what? You know this cool story route we took with Peter growing as his own Spider-Man in Homecoming and learning to be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man on his own right without the help of Iron Man? Yeah, let's completely take away from that and just completely undo that in Far From Home. Fantastic.
Yeah,
Makes so much sense. Love it. Oh, did I say love? I mean, absolutely despise it. I'm sorry. It's terrible. Next thing you know, the freaking Fantastic Four are going to be, like, depending on Doctor Doom or something for the story, or who knows. I can only imagine what would happen in that. But boom, here we are, boys. Final mission. Are we ready? I am ready. Short game,
Yes,
which is the one downside
do
of
it.
Miles. It is short, but still fun. Short but sweet, and is definitely filler for... well, I shouldn't say filler. Filler in the sense that, like, it's a good waiting interim to wait for the official sequel. Like, if you want to hang on and play some Spider-Man games in the meantime, you got the first game on PS4 with John Bubniak's character model and the 3 new suits, as well as Miles Morales running and looking great on a base PS4 and PS4 Pro. Or if you want to go into next gen, you also have Miles and the remaster. So you are all set. We are all good to go. And I'm just going to go right in, webs blazing, to all these underground guys. Woo! But yeah, any other questions you guys may have about to Franco or Andrew or myself about the sequel or the next games in the future? Because again, you know, we also have Suicide Squad, we have Gotham Knights, we have Guardians of the Galaxy, which is leaked. We have Marvel Spider-Man 2, of course. We have possible Miles Morales DLC, but I don't think so, because I think it's like for a standalone spin-off game, I don't really see them doing something like that, but who knows. But any other game that you guys may be excited about? Me, you guys know me, Persona 5 Strikers, my game of the year next year. That's going to be hype. Franco and I are already beyond hype for it, so we're ready for our boy Akira to come back, for sure.
I have a question for you.
Does my mic sound better now?
It sounds a bit more staticky, but it definitely sounds better than before.
Yeah.
Alright, I apologize to anyone watching the stream that may have heard me talking so loud. Hopefully I didn't.
It's okay. Thank you for joining us, Andrew. It means a lot that you're here.
Difficulties.
We're just happy to have you here.
Yeah, I had such a hard time trying to get on because of technical difficulties with my
Trust me, buddy, I feel the same way. I know exactly what that's like.
Yeah, and I was trying to test things with my audio just to make sure it was working, and I think I may have made it a bit too loud, which is probably why it was super loud earlier.
But Evan, I do have a question for you.
Yes, Franco, my main man.
In 2077, what makes someone a criminal?
What would that
be? Is that a cyberpunk question?
Famously stated by Keanu Reeves, "Why do you come?" That's all we know. Perfect. We gave up Bill and Ted 3 in The Matrix 4 for this. I hope it was worth it. Wait, is Bill and Ted 3 already out?
Yes, it came out just recently on home video.
That is crazy. I was actually not aware of that. That's hilarious. Because I know that they, were talking about, and also, crazy enough, they were shooting it here. It was either one of them. It was either Bill and Ted 3 or Matrix 4 that they were shooting here in California, specifically San Francisco, and they were doing stunts. With Keanu Reeves doing some stunts outside like a car or something. But I was not able to see it, sadly, because I was still attending San Francisco City College and going back and forth from there to home. But that was pretty cool that they had that, doing stuff there. Devon Crawford, hey Evan, what's up, dude? Hopefully you're doing well. Right in the water. Bam. Oh, I actually saved that person. That person was actually about to drown, but I just instead saved them. Fantastic. Carla Pickett, hi. What's up, Carla? How you doing? Michael Courtney, Evan, maybe they could add DLC suits through Miles Morales in the future. Maybe. I know a lot of people were wanting the Jordan suit from Spider-Verse, which is basically this, where he's wearing the hoodie and the jacket and the shoes and the shorts. But I think we discussed this last time that I don't think it would be in their best interest to do that because Marvel already made the partnership with Adidas. So it'd be like, oh, here's our version of the Spider-Verse suit, but it's with Jordans instead of Adidas. Now, granted, the Jordan suit is much more popular than the Adidas suit, but it's not in the best interest with a company they already partnered with to do that again for this. Like, if you had, I mean, they already did it. I mean, with Marvel's Avengers, they had the 5 Gum partnership, which totally worked out for them. Spoiler alert, it did not. But they had the 5 Gum partnership for Marvel's Avengers and the PC stuff as well. But then at the same time, they also have the best version of Avengers on here with Spider-Man. So if you purchase the PlayStation version of Marvel's Avengers, you get Spider-Man. But then they're doing all these other deals and sponsorship things to promote the game more, and it doesn't work out for them because no one cares. Because then the game isn't a game anymore; it's just a product. So for Spider-Man, they didn't do that. The only thing that they did do is just Adidas because that suits the character. Yes, because 5 Gum completely suits the character of the Avengers. Like, no, that's just stupid money-grubbing sponsorship stuff to make more money off your product, which is bad. And it's not genuine to the consumer or the game that you're making. But Miles, they did that with Jordan for the Spider-Verse because that was more stylish. But for Adidas, which I love, I think I actually like that more than the Jordans one because of the reasoning behind it. Brian Horton, who's of course the creative director of this, said specifically that the Adidas were added in Miles Morales because of the inspirational representation it brings to the hip-hop culture and aesthetic of Brooklyn/Harlem, and the 3-stripe true brand of the Adidas relates to New Yorkers. Now I don't know the full history of it, but that's like the reasoning that the shoe has in the game's world that also exists in real life, which is so cool to see that incorporated into the game on a personal level that resonates with a character like Miles Morales. Even with the headphones, like, I do not have the exaggerated swagger of a black teen, sadly, but what I do have are headphones. And what Miles does near the end of the game, where he's, you know, jamming down the street, he's cruising, he's just listening to his music, I do that in real life. Like, I listen to my buddies' videos online, or, you know, my own videos to get better input. Like, maybe I could add the audio here, whatever. Like, I have the big earmuff headphones that Miles wears in real life, and wear them while listening to either videos or music, and just kind of vibe out, like with the hand stuff, and just kind of like vibe when no one's looking. And it's fun. And I'm so cool. It's so cool that I, myself, as a Caucasian male, can relate to a person of mixed heritage, you know, African-American / Puerto Rican descent, on such a personal level. And even like Kamala Khan, some people out there can relate to a person of Muslim / Pakistani heritage, and they may not even be Pakistani / Muslim themselves, but they love superheroes, and they're a fan of them, and they really resonate with the Avengers on a personal level, just like Kamala does. And you as a fan can relate to that no matter who or what you are. So that's really, really cool. And it's always cool to see stuff like that incorporated into the game or the story or whatever it may be. Just doing stuff like that is awesome. Boom, here we go. Miles Morales flashback. Now, for whatever reason, every time I do this part of the mission, when I'm wearing any suit, doesn't matter which one, Miles is always an invisible ghost on the PS4, and then he comes back into frame when Finn touches him. Right now, he'll probably be invisible. I'll be shocked if he's visible. Look at that! She's touching a ghost. Boom. Gone, and he's back. He's a phantom. It's insane. Alright. Anyways, we're back.
Oh my God.
Miles is no longer invisible. He got rid of that power. He doesn't have that power yet, so that's a bit of a time jump there, but yeah.
Are you gonna wear the classic suit during the final battle?
Sorry? What was that, Franco?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I said, are you gonna wear the classic suit during the final battle?
Yes, because it's weird that the others, like, it's cool you can wear the other suits in the game, and they can look completely different and whatever, and that's awesome. But the classic suit is the only suit that has like the full damage of that moment, where it's like what we saw in the reveal trailer, where like his suit is disintegrating off of his body. Now, also, fun fact, or at least, you know, I guess what we were looking at in this mission is, you know, it's an Oscorp Science Center talking about the exploration of sea and space. Now, they were hinting at Namor a little bit earlier, but I was personally, when I first played this mission, I was personally looking through any possible hint I could find of teasing the shuttle that retrieved the symbiote, if it was an alien. Because right now, we still don't know if the symbiote is an alien or if it's a man-made product like the Ultimate Comics in this universe. So when we were exploring this and the sea and the creatures and life forms and extraterrestrial beings, what they were talking about, I was looking at like anything. Like, are they talking about the symbiote? Are they talking about like organic life on other planets? Like, what's happening? The Clintar maybe? Like, probably not that far, but like, you know, like, oh, it's on Mars or something. They recovered it like as a little, like, you know, artifact or something. Like, that would be crazy. And I don't think they've done that. I don't think, from what I've seen, I have not been able to find any full Easter egg or reference, or like, you know, they always put like the comic numbers to reference a specific issue of a comic. So far, I haven't seen anything like that relating to the symbiote, but I've been like, I looked like crazy during this mission because it was nuts.
Oh, Evan, there's a question for you in the chat.
Oh, yes.
There's a question from Michael Courtney. He asked Evan, maybe they could do DLC suits, though, for Miles Morales.
We did just discuss about that, Andrew. If they do decide to do that, that would be great. The one that a lot of people are wanting is the Jordan suit from Into the Spider-Verse, you know, the hooded suit with the shoes. Other suits, I don't really know what else they could do. I guess maybe Shadow Spider is one, so that's a deep cut. Whoa! Miles T-posing up the stairs, that is fantastic and not glitchy at all. Great. No worries there. But yeah, I definitely hope they could add suits, but for right now, I don't know for sure. We will wait and see, though. But now, I don't think we're going to get any more content from Miles this year because Insomniac is out of their offices right now. But, we will see. Yeah, I need and I do. Vibing out like Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 3. Not that much. Not that much. But I wish. If no one's looking, maybe. But for right now, I just kind of like bob my head if I have headphones on, listening to music and kind of like what Miles was doing, like with the hands, like playing a keyboard or whatever, like in midair, like air keyboard, kind of like that. But that's like, it's fun that he does that in this game. All right, Finn. I'm going to beat you senseless with this game. Watch. Yeah, but for the story, and what we talked about Cyberpunk, we talked about the story. Is it Square or X? That's Square. Oh, God. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, she's winning. Wait. Oh, my God. Boom.
Don't fail this. Please don't fail this.
That was close.
Come on.
Nailed it.
Oh!
Yeah, like right here, this entire time, this like space colony that they were talking about on Mars, initiate housing on Mars, proposes terraforming with our closest neighbor in the solar system. Literally, I was looking like, where's the symbiote? Where's the black goo? What's happening? And I thought we were going to get like a tease to that or something to explain more about what it is, but I guess Insomniac is saving that fully for the official sequel. So we'll just have to wait more until we get all of that. But all this stuff, I love this moment so much. Like this whole, it was weird and out of place because it messed with the pacing of the story. Like we're just about to go and defeat Finn as the Tinkerer, and then we get this whole flashback sequence with her and Miles. That felt out of place, but what you do during this, like exploring more of Oscorp and the science elements of stuff, I love this so much. It's like the coolest thing. For me as a fan of the characters and the personal relationships that they have and the background of the lore, specifically of Oscorp and their history in New York, like it's so cool to see that.
Young Special in the chat is asking if he can join the party.
Oh, Young Special, probably not right now. Maybe a bit later. Right now we have Andrew and Franco here, and I think that's more than enough because then it'll get a bit too crowded. But we'll try next time, for sure. But thank you for tuning in and hanging out in the stream. That means a lot. Hopefully you're doing well. And hopefully all of you, if you're just tuning in, thanks for joining. Hopefully you're enjoying this relaxing Friday afternoon, enjoying the holidays, staying safe, because in California it is poop central over here. Not good at all. But for all you other guys, hopefully you're doing having fun and doing the best you can to stay safe. But yeah, for us in California, it's getting intense. But besides that, yeah, I talked about Persona 5 Strikers already. Like that's like the most anticipated game that I'm looking forward to right now for 2021 is probably Persona 5 Strikers. There's not really a lot for Gotham Knights right now that has me hyped. It's like interesting, but not hyped. And then Suicide Squad comes out 2022, so you can't really count that. And then Spider-Man 2 is probably coming out as well in 2022 or 2023. Guardians of the Galaxy is still rumored to be developed by Square Enix and Eidos Montreal, but when they could release that or announce it, we still don't know for sure. Maybe like E3 time, 2021, like June 2021, if Marvel's Avengers is such a big flop, they're like, oh, we have another game that's nothing like Avengers, and it's Guardians. So that, and again, like Avengers was live service looter shooter elements into what they tried to sell as a single-player game, which it wasn't. But what they've leaked previously for Guardians is that it's going to be a fully AAA open-world single-player / co-op element game with no live service stuff incorporated in it. So that's already a step in the right direction. But whether or not they can do it justice is still to be determined. But we will see.
That Dog 257 asks, how do you think Eddie will get the symbiote in the sequel?
Well, I think it's going to be Harry getting the symbiote, but we do know that Eddie exists in this universe. So we do know. Hold on, really quick. This Pain right here, bro. Pain. How? Yes. Oh, better the performance of Yuri. Where? Tell me where. I'm sorry. I'll go up close as you can. What are they talking about? Maybe it looks better on the PS5. My man literally looks like Peter A. Parker from Spider-Verse with the blonde hair. And
no, I'm sorry.
Man,
no,
I just don't
I
like
have to
this
fight
scene.
you, Evan. I'm sorry.
Because we're not playing as Miles right now, but this scene, would have
It
made
looks
me
super
cry
vibrant
if it was
now.
John's face. For sure.
Nope, still no, I still got excited even with Ben's face. I don't care.
I got excited too because I was like, "Oh, Otto's back!" But I'm like, because that just took me out of it, you know. Like, oh my God, it's Peter and Otto
It was a nice
before
cameo.
they met, you know, before Miles and Peter met. So it's like, oh, great. But God, like the detailing, at least on PS4, just is not there. And again, granted, to the benefit of the
I feel
PS5,
like it
maybe it
doesn't
looks
look
better on
that
next
good
gen.
on
But for
PS5.
right now, I'm like, what the reasoning saying it's going to enhance the performance of Yuri as Peter, I do not see that here. But again, maybe they'll have something better to work with in the sequel going forward. Bye, imposter. Later, but Otto
No,
right here. Just
bye,
seeing him look
Peter.
and talk about Peter and Norman right here, looking at the mutable metal is just insane. But yeah, it's crazy. I love how he talks about Norman as well here too. Oscorp Science Center, huh? Ooh. Norman can't build anything. Foreboding. Foreboding. Bye, Otto. Bye, Peter. Oh, man. I love this scene, though. Oh, man. Slayer, deal with the new face. I have, but I'm just saying that I prefer John way more than Ben. That's a preference. That's the difference, is that I'm not going to be like, you know, like some people like take it to such a crazy degree, like, oh, Evan hates the face, so he's not going to buy the sequel. No. If they announce a collector's edition for the sequel, I'm going to buy. I'm going to be the first one to buy it. Let me guarantee you right now. It's just that for me, I heavily prefer the more mature visual aesthetic that John Bumniak's character model brought to the character of Peter Parker in comparison to Ben Jordan. And that scene would have hit me a lot harder if it was John's model instead of Ben's. That's it, though. That's all it is. But as for where they can go in the sequel, like I said, we already brought this up. In the sequel, I'm really wanting the performance with the black suit and Ben Jordan and Yuri as like evil-ish Peter to really do something crazy, like really dive deep into the aesthetic of, oh shoot, we almost had it, of the symbiote and what that could do for Peter. There we go. Bam.
Honestly,
Pow. Done.
Honestly, I'm still not sure how I feel about Ben's face. I mean,
I love his face. I love it.
Franco loves it. I prefer John. So Andrew, you're in the middle, you would say?
Yeah, I think so, because when they announced the new face, I wasn't at all a big fan of it, but I think it may be growing on me a little bit. I don't know, it may take more time to get adjusted to things. Because I'm more used to John, honestly.
I know, bro. I miss my boy John, but I'm still willing to give Ben a chance. I just I'm willing. Here's the thing: I'm willing to give Ben a chance. But if you gave me like the option, like, hey Evan, would you want John back or Ben back? I'm saying John like 100% of the time. That's not even a question. So I'm willing to give this new change a chance, but it will not top what I believe John brought for Peter. But again, it is what it is. Gonna have to deal with it. We've already made our statements about it several times, so we can just hope for the best in the future, and that's it. But with that said, I'm very curious to see exactly how Ben Jordan will look wearing the black suit in the sequel, because that's, again, the one who we're going to see in the black suit. Not John, which I feel a bit robbed there, but Ben, instead, wearing the symbiote and black suit Spider-Man in the sequel. So that performance, when he's wearing that, and what that could do for Peter's character, I'm going to be very intrigued to see exactly how that will work. Let's see. We can't play in these chairs, right? Yeah, no. I wish so. That'd be great. Let's see. Any questions from the chat? Do you think that his face matches his voice? Absolutely not. 100% no.
I'm not sure
not in my
about
opinion.
that.
Not yet, I would say. I would say in the remaster, in some scenes, yes. Other scenes, no. Not once does it match his body in this, in Miles.
Well,
in the PS4 version or the PS5 version with the cutscene that they showed with like the higher fidelity hair textures and stuff. It doesn't match, in my opinion. Because it looks too young in some scenes. It's not about like, oh, it looks like Tom Holland, which is a factor about it. But the fact that he's 24 in this game's universe, in Miles, but in the first game he was 23, graduated college, been Spider-Man for 8 years, the aesthetic that John brought to that fit much more naturally for Yuri's performance versus Ben. And that also has to do with the fact that Ben Jordan is a model, whereas John Budniak is actually an actor. If you guys know, John's actually an actor himself, who he acted out the lines of dialogue for the game, which a lot of people seem to still be misinterpreting. He acted out the lines vocally of the most important scenes of the game with Peter, and he said that he even had to match Yuri Lowenthal's voice for some of those moments, because since Yuri's the voice, John had to match the vocal aesthetic of Yuri's performance to better suit the character's model of Peter in the game. Now, granted, they did say that they scrapped some of those, but still, the work that John put into it was still very, very thorough and dedicated to the best possible Peter that they could do. But again, I'm not sure about all of Ben Jordan's career, whereas he's a professional model to look good, but John is an actor and a model, but mainly an actor first. You know, he's been in short films, and also I believe he was an extra in the second Godzilla movie. The Godzilla God of Monsters, King of Monsters, whatever one, that one, the sequel where he fights Mothra and King Ghidorah. He was an extra like soldier in that movie, so he's been in like pretty big stuff. Lejeune, our main man, what's good, bro? Everyone go subscribe and follow Lejeune right now. He's the best. I'm sure Lejeune is enjoying Marvel's Avengers stuff with Kate Bishop. I am not, sadly, but Lejeune is your main man for Avengers coverage for sure.
Please check him out.
Yes,
amazing guy.
Franco agreed.
Really, really
Franco knows what's up.
I know.
Yeah, Lejeune, we'll probably do like a group playthrough together of Avengers eventually, but for right now, I'm like, wait, and I know you got it for PS5, which is great, or you got a PS5 and you're playing Avengers through backwards compatibility on your PS5. Me, I'm still on a PS4, so my peasant self can't play it on next gen yet, but it'll be interesting to see. Also, that's right, in store next year, I forgot, early 2021, they are releasing the next gen versions of Marvel's Avengers. For Square Enix, you know, because you can play Marvel's Avengers on PS5 through backwards compatibility, but it's not the full next-gen experience yet. Same thing with Cyberpunk. You know, Cyberpunk, you can play it on next-gen, but that's not the next-gen game. That's just playing it on an enhanced platform. So, you will be able to do that for Marvel's Avengers in, like, the coming months in 2021, which will be cool to see. Woo.
Oh yeah, I forgot that we're gonna have Spider-Man and Avengers. I think next month or
February. I love that, Andrew. I love how that's the one that you forget. Oh yeah, the game's so unused that we forgot Spider-Man is gonna be in it. Like that's the funniest thing. But
honestly,
well, hopefully they can improve it by the time he's out. And also, sadly, Black Panther. You know, he was supposed to be like the first character, I think, to be in the game, and then sadly, due to the passing of Chadwick Boseman, it didn't work out for them. Sadly, so. That's unfortunate, but at least we know that he is coming eventually. But we don't know when exactly that could be. Same thing with Hawkeye and you know, the other characters like Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch and Mockingbird. Oh, snap! Miles just destroyed his frickin' project. Holy smokes. It's intense. But yeah, who knows in the future if they'll be able to recover from the sales that Marvel's Avengers has not accumulated, I should say, compared to Spider-Man. Where Spider-Man, Miles Morales, is confirmed to be like the second highest selling superhero game of all time, right after
I think it's behind the
first game. So that's hype, for sure. Represent for our boy, Miles, for sure. And won Game of the Year for Best PS5 Game of the Year for the fans' choices. Not for Last of Us, which won Best PS4 Game, but for Best PS5 Game, that still went to Miles, which is hype. That's awesome that they did that. Holy smokes. Okay, Miles got to
honestly, I forgot
make
Last
way
of
quick.
Us 2 came out.
Right.
I still haven't finished watching a playthrough of that game, honestly. It just didn't interest me.
Avengers?
I meant for Last of Us.
Oh, Last of Us. Yeah, see, I didn't buy the game myself. I just saw a playthrough of it, but man, that story, like, you could say the gameplay is good, which I could see, it's like an improvement from the first game in several aspects, especially graphically. Graphically, it's like a masterpiece, but the story itself is hot garbage, in my opinion. I'm not a fan of the story at all for Last of Us.
I'm okay with it. Like, I played through it, I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. It's good. It's not bad. It's not great.
It definitely could be better.
It's just good. It's just good in my opinion.
Honestly,
and I get what they're trying to go for, like what their message is, but
story.
at the same time, that's a message that's been done before, like in several other movies and games. Like, revenge isn't worth it. You'll get nothing out of taking, vengeance on the one that you care about for the one that you love. And but then they go about such a stupid way for Joel and his character, and he does a lot of things out of character. Same thing with Ellie that make no sense. Like, okay, so it's like, I don't know. That was just a whole weird narrative that they did. But the gameplay and graphics are fantastic. But the story itself, I'm like, no. Yeah. That's why I want Ghost to win. I thought Ghost was phenomenal in every way. Ghost of Tsushima is my pick of like. Besides Persona 5 Royal, of course, you guys know me. Ghost of Tsushima is my pick for the game of the year, and also Miles, I guess. But still, play Persona 5 Royal. Do it. You will not regret it. Just I gotta keep plugging that because no one really seems to listen to me when I say that. But please, play Persona 5 Royal. It's so good. You will not regret it. You'll cry when playing it. I beg of you. And it also helps that literally the canon choice of the game's romance is literally like Japanese Peter and MJ. So like that, I'm a little bit biased towards that too. I was literally shocked, like, sidebar, for like a Persona 5 sidebar, when they revealed, I won't spoil it for you guys, but when Kasumi makes her real self known by the third act, and then she's looking different and she goes by a, completely different alias, I'm like, there's no way they can make this character even better, and they did. I'm like, oh my god, this is like so good. Like, seeing her chemistry with Joker as well is fantastic. Like, and there's so many like instances that you don't even choose to do, like that they're completely teasing the fact that they're canon for each other. It's like the best choice that Atlas has ever done for their characters. It's fantastic. Like, people ship, in Persona 3, if you guys are Persona fans, people ship Minato, or Makoto, whatever you guys decide to name him, who is voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, by the way, with Mitsuru, who's voiced by Tara Platt, who's Yuri Lowenthal's wife in real life. They ship them together because they're married in real life, which is a fantastic ship. But for Persona 4, it's kind of ambiguous with Yu, because he's such a Chad, he can just go with anyone he wants. But he can either go with, like, I forget her name, Marie, or Rize, or Chie, or Yukio. Like, either one of them, they're fantastic. But specifically for Persona 5 Royal, they make it dead on clear that the canon choice for romancing is Kasumi with Joker. Like, that's for a fact, and I'm so behind it. It's like fantastic, which makes their ending together even more heartbreaking when they have to depart. I'm like, no, don't go. You're not going to be in Strikers. You're not going to be in Persona 5 Strikers. That breaks my soul, but oh well. We'll see you back soon someday. That's why I also ship Felicia with Peter, because they're like fantastic with each other. Maybe not this version of Felicia, because she kind of does some sus stuff in this game's universe, but mainly in the comics, where she's more like, because the whole thing with Black Cat is that she slowly learns to love Peter as Peter. Before she always loved Spider-Man and only that. That was like her first introduction, though. Later on, she really is in love with Peter and who he is and how caring he is for others and what he does as a hero, as Spider-Man, not just for the thrill, but also for the safety of others. And as together, like, she's Black Cat, and her as like a sidekick / partner of Spider-Man instead of like a cat burglar is like the best chemistry that they have as colleagues in the comics. It's like so good. But then, of course, Dan Slott had to ruin it with freaking Superior Spider-Man, where he just socked her right in the face, and that made me like so pissed off that I think I stopped reading Spider-Man comics for a while. But I was like so mad when that happened. Like, oh yes, just ruin one of the best relationships in the comics with the current characters with this. It's like, fine. But I don't know. Now we're past that. Now Nick Spencer's doing justice, I think. Chip Zdarsky as well. They're great. But mainly for the comics realm of things, I'm mainly in like the Gamerverse stuff with the Black Cat Strikes, and their relationship in the comics and the Black Cat Strikes is so good. And seeing where it went from there into the game is like even better. Oh boy. I'm trying to get all these combos down and takedowns. Woof. Oh, get this door. Oh, how dare he block that attack. I try to go to the guy with the sword, not the guy with the shield. All right. Oh. Just elbow in the face.
Don't drive off the edge.
Don't drop. I know. Right.
Sorry, I'm playing Cyberpunk right now. I'm playing Cyberpunk right now, and I almost
Survive!
drove into
It's
the
like
water.
Robert Downey Jr. from Tropic Thunder. Survive! Oh, man. I'm a land farmer, mother... No, I'm kidding. God, freaking... I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. Fantastic. Well,
In
2 bars, let's go. Triple spin of fury, bam. Love that move. It's fantastic. But yes, there's a lot going on with the sequel, a lot going on with Marvel games, a lot going on with DC games. Very exciting stuff. Persona 5 Strikers is also hype for us JRPG fans. Spooter, will we get a suit for Christmas? I'm pretty sure we already have that with the winter suit. I'm assuming what you mean is, will we get a new suit for Marvel Spider-Man Remastered as a Christmas present? Mainly, what I know a lot of people still want is the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit. I will say no, because which is weird, because they said the same thing, like back in 2018 or 2019, like, hey, are you guys going to include the Amazing Spider-Man suits? And they said no. But then they add them again now for the remaster and on PS4 like 2 years later. So people are wondering, are they going to include the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit as a Christmas present for Spider-Man PS4 and Marvel Spider-Man Remastered? Right now, I'm going to say no, mainly because they already said they're out of their offices right now, so unless they already prepped something in advance, I don't think we're going to see more Spider-Man stuff content included for either game anytime soon, because they already kind of wrapped up production for their game for this year, and then they're going to continue next year with Rift Apart. But for Spider-Man, I know a lot of people are wanting new suits. Even more, even after they already gave us like 45 suits in the first game and then 19 suits for Miles' game. But I think right now we are good with where we are at, and I don't think we're going to get anything else anytime soon. I think we have what we have. I think that may have been the last update, unless possibly, if they decide to do it, because there's going to be a crazy amount of fans begging for it if they do decide to do it. When Spider-Man 3 comes out in 2021 for that movie, and if Tom Holland gets another Spider-Man suit or whatever, and if Andrew returns as Spider-Man in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit, then I could see them including that costume in Spider-Man PS4 and the remaster as a bonus costume to help cross-promote the movie, since they did the same thing with Far From Home, which is, again, another example where Insomniac lied, or at least they misled us, saying, oh, are you guys going to... They literally asked, like, people asked, are you going to include the costumes from Far From Home into Spider-Man PS4? And they said, there are no plans for that. But then, when the movie came out, they included both of them for free. So, who the hell knows? Like, it's very odd with them. Mainly with James Stevenson, because he's the one answering fans' questions about that. Like, he's the one saying yes or no to those inquiries that people are asking. Like, are you going to include the Far From Home suits? Are you going to include the Raimi suit? Are you going to include the Amazing Spider-Man suits? And most of the time he said no, and then all of a sudden they do. So, I don't know what to make of it. It's always, heads or tails with him. It's very strange. But if they're able to do something that works, then so be it. And if they do have another suit to help cross-promote, Spider-Man 3 with a costume that looks like the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit, or another MCU suit that Tom Holland will wear, since he always gets like 50,000 suits in each of these movies, then maybe. But for now, if Andrew comes back in Spider-Man 3 and he's wearing the Amazing Spider-Man 1 suit, that would be such a freaking power move, because I love that suit to death, way more than the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit, which again, to its benefit, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit is pretty much the ultimate Spider-Man costume from the comics brought to life in live action. Like, it looks one-to-one perfect, and it's phenomenal in that regard. But I'm more of a fan of like the more modernized / artistic style looking suits, which is why I love the advanced suit so much, because it's so unique and different from everything else we've seen before. And that's why I really like the Amazing Spider-Man 1 suit versus the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit, because I've never seen a costume look like that in the way it has. Specifically, with the way the artists and designers explain the suit. They described it as, what if a spider web blew onto someone's chest with wind? Like, what if the air just carried a spider web over to someone and it just landed on their body? And that's why you got the really cool, unique patterning of the suit meshing through, like, the red on the arms, and the cool, like, cut in between of the wrist and the leg, the racing stripe pretty much down his leg pants, and the yellow lenses. And even though they make fun of the basketball shaped face, I still love the design that it has for the suit. I think it looks fantastic. Holy smokes, I didn't realize we've been streaming for over 2 hours. That's insane. So I am definitely going to stop live streaming after we defeat Finn, but that's a pretty good way to end it. I don't know if this will be the final stream, because we also have all the side stuff to do, as well as the Jefferson Davis postcard side mission that's at the end of the game. But right now we're just going to stop Finn, and then we will stop streaming. But that might take another half an hour or so, so we'll see.
It'll be worth it.
How much longer we'll stream. But yeah, to answer your question, bro, for Spoder, that was a great question. I do think there is a possibility maybe later on, but for this year, right now, I don't think we will see more suits for Miles or Peter. I think that's it. I think 45 suits is more than enough. Most of them are free. That's fantastic. Miles' costumes, he doesn't have a lot of suits in the comics as is, so for the most part, they already included a majority of his suits from the comics into the game. Except for, like, of course, the Into the Spider-Verse Jordan suit. Other than that, I think we're pretty much good. But yeah, any suits for you guys, Andrew or Franco? Any costumes would you want to see Insomniac implement within either game? Like, do you have any preferences? Like, would you want, like, for example, which I hate these costumes, but I don't know, some of you guys might be a fan. If you're a fan of the Identity Crisis costumes, like the Prodigy one and not Beetle, like the Hornet, which is a ripoff of Dragonfly, by the way. There's the Hornet, Prodigy, Dusk, and Ricochet. Hate those costumes to death, so please, Insomniac, do not include those either in Spider-Man PS4 or the sequel, because I will cry.
But add the Dragonfly suit, please.
Dragonfly suit for the sequel, or we riot. That's a fact. This is not disputable. This is not negotiable. This is a need. This is a demanding need for the sequel.
And I expect to see Rick Riker appear in this game.
Rick Riker in sequel, please. Need that for sure. I also love how Finn and Miles are both wearing hoodies. And this moment, see, now for the game itself, because we've been talking about the sequel and other games, well, this moment did not really affect me as much when Miles was fighting Finn, because it felt a bit rushed because of the game's length. If they expanded it a bit more early on and stuff, instead of just saying, oh, we've been old friends, and then all of a sudden I'm turning on you. Plus, it's also like a new character, so they reinvented an older character that's never been seen in, like, the comics before. Like, the Tinker is an older character in the comics who's literally an old man, who's literally just like a black market arms dealer, pretty much, working from the shadows and doing tech stuff to help build the weapons
new character
for the enemies. It did not really hit me as much for Finn, because she is a gender swap of Phineas Mason for this game. So when they're like, oh my god, Finn, I don't want to fight you, and you're so sad with your life and your brother and stuff, I didn't really feel all that bad. She's very irrational and unreasonable. Now, granted, she's in mourning. She's not in her best mindset right now, because all she's doing is wanting to get justice for Rick and take down Simon and Roxxon. But still, it's like they could have expanded that a bit more with a longer story, or a couple more missions with Finn, or having that flashback feel a bit more connected to the story instead of just having it at the very end of the game, right before the final boss fight. So that felt a bit strange for me, but for the most part, I like what they did with Finn. I just wish they did more with her in that regard.
Yeah,
I'm sure other people can feel the same way.
For sure, though, her boss fight is probably the hardest boss fight.
It's so hard, right? It was really
especially on
hard.
Ultimate. Especially, like, the first time you play, like, trust me, like, I played through the game on Spectacular before, because you can't get Ultimate when you do the game on the first try. But I played on Spectacular, and I haven't died up until the final battle. And I'm like, okay, like, why is this so hard? I had no trouble.
I know, like, I had no clue how to dodge those giant saw blades for the longest time. And then I realized I wasn't using the invisibility. And I just died right now. Fantastic. And I was wailing on her, but I still just got one hit killed by Tinkerer because I'm playing it on Ultimate. But damn, like, yeah, even now I'm losing in this fight because it's pretty darn challenging. Which is fun, though, because it makes you feel, like, keep on your toes and use your abilities and your gadgets all at once, which is fun. But yeah, it's like, there's so much to go with it all at once. So it's like, are you really getting the most out of your fight with that? So it's like, who knows?
Ooh, Evan, I have a question.
Yes, Andrew, my main man.
So, and I'm pretty sure, before I get into some spoiler territory, I'm pretty sure everyone in this call, and especially those watching the stream, have played the game already. If you haven't, spoiler warning, but a question I gotta ask you is, what is your guys' opinion on the reveal of who the Tinkerer was in the game. Like, and before you give your answer, I just want to say that honestly, and I'm not even exaggerating when I say this, but literally a few minutes before it was revealed it was Finn, like, I already figured it out instantly.
Yeah.
Just because she looked like a girl, honestly, and I pieced it together in my head thinking, oh, is this Finn? If it is, that's not going to surprise me. But regardless, it was a good twist.
Well, I figured it out right when they said her name, like Finn, because we saw the Tinkerer promoted as like a core villain for the game. Like Brian Horton made that clear. Like the leader of the Underground is the Tinkerer. Like, okay, cool, that's Phineas Mason from the comics, but what we saw in the gameplay demo, it sounded like she was a girl, and also the Game Informer stuff made it clear that it was a she and not a he. So, and that was the theory, like, oh, are they gonna do like Yuri Watanabe as the Tinkerer? Like maybe do something different? Like that'd be crazy. But then when we played the game for ourselves, and then they showed that story element, like, oh, hey, Miles, oh, Finn? Who? Finn Mason? Oh, okay, so then that's just like a gender swap of Phineas Mason. Like, oh, so that's her. Okay, so I wasn't really surprised. I was more so like, oh, it's cool to see that like they have a friendship of a villain who's not really known to have like a connection with Spider-Man in the comics. Like Phineas Mason has never been close to Peter Parker or Miles Morales at all in the comics. So seeing them do that for a character that's more unknown for the Rogues Gallery of Spider-Man, that's pretty cool to see. So yeah, I was not surprised. Unlike with Dr. Octopus and Harry Osborn, like that was the biggest surprise of the ending of Spider-Man PS4. I literally crapped my pants when they said Harry is going to be Venom. Like, oh, my son, and he has the symbiote around him. Like, holy crap, they're going to make Harry Venom instead of Eddie. This is insane. And I was like, I'm so behind it as well. But for Miles, yeah, with Finn saying that, oh, I'm, a fixture. She's smart and she's intelligent and witty, but also it's a Finn Mason, so that's Phineas Mason, just abbreviated pretty much, and gender swap, so that's interesting. And I'm glad they're staying true to the character of Finn. They didn't rename the entirety of the character of Tinkerer or whoever. They are keeping to the same name, Finn Mason. It's just that it's a different background story for her character, which is very cool to see in that regard. But yeah, like Doc Ock's turn to being a villain, we knew he was obviously going to be Dr. Octopus because of the very first moment we saw him. It's just that the way on how they did it was so unique and different from anything else we've ever seen before. That was what it got me invested in his character in the game. Like, wow, he's really caring about Peter, and he's very, very close to him, and Peter has this history with him a lot and worked for him, and Octavius Industries and Norman Osborn and the relationship that they have. Like, oh my God, it's all bonding together, and it's all coming together in this one massive final battle between the two of them, and seeing how that related to the final blow of him saying like, you're like a son to me, and then like I worshipped you. Like, oh my God, that was heartbreaking. This is like we were friends once, right, Miles? For a character we've not really gotten a lot of screen time with. We got a lot of screen time with Dr. Octopus, which is again the benefit of the first game, is that it was longer and more connected to the characters of the story. Yeah, but for this, it was not as much compared to how I would have liked them to do it. Let's see, if I can go invisible right now and freak her out.
Someone asked in the chat saying, do you think they make a Miles 2 if Peter dies?
It could happen, but I think that would be mad. I think we, as fans, would be mad because we want more of Peter, obviously, in his own story. But they also kind of confirmed that in this game. But when they were marketing for Miles, they were saying, oh, this is a Miles Morales story, but at the same time, Peter's story is not over, where Brian Intihar is leading the way forward to tell more narratives with Peter and growing his story even farther. I died without even knowing how I died. Fantastic. But yeah, they pretty much confirmed that Peter's story is not finished yet. They're going to expand it further in the official sequel with his own game, with Miles now as his own Spider-Man, but they're going to mainly focus the sequel as a whole on Peter instead of Miles. And that's what I'm excited for the most.
Honestly, the thing I'm curious about is if Peter dies, I wonder if they're going with the death of Spider-Man approach to it, since Goblin was pretty much involved with his death in the Ultimate Comics.
Right.
That's the thing I'm curious about. Especially since Norman in this game hasn't been Goblin yet, and I think he is in the sequel. guess we'll just wait and see.
Yeah, based on what's been teased and hinted at, and Norman's the downfall. You know, also in the Daily Bugle articles that Insomniac posted, they also pretty much said that Norman is losing investor trust with the board of directors. You're out, Norman. It's pretty much that. Like they got out of the company. Like his stocks are dropping like cyberpunk status. They're dropping like crazy at Oscorp. His reputation is fumbled now. So it's like, wow, where is he going next? Like who knows? But President Osborne, why not? No, but his story and the inclusion of his narrative is only just beginning. Because Otto was the main threat of the first game, and the reputation that he had with Norman was kind of like the catalyst of him going off as Dr. Octopus. So they're setting up, obviously, Norman has a big presence within this universe, and Oscorp too. So maybe they might dive into that a bit further. Where Roxxon, they kind of dove into them a bit more for Miles' game with Roxxon in his story, but for the sequel with Peter and all that, they might explore more about Oscorp and Harry being sick and how Peter can try and help Harry if he discovers that he's sick, which he does. MJ told Peter that Harry's sick, but maybe he might try and find Harry, obviously, and try and help him out in his situation. Who knows? So we will see. Kenny Trolls, I hope they don't make another Spider-Man game. I hope they just make Peter an add-on for the game. Why? No, I disagree with that, Kenny. We need more Spider-Man games for sure. No, because this was not a fully next-gen game, mind you. Like, this was a cross-gen game, which runs great on both PS4 and PS5, but we haven't seen the full PlayStation 5 exclusive perks yet for what Spider-Man can do for next-gen. Like, we've seen that for Demon's Souls, and we saw that for, I think, another game. Holy smokes, these saw blades. But we haven't seen like the core full-on PlayStation 5 exclusive titles yet. That's yet to be seen. So I need to see a full-on Spider-Man game with that amount of talent and time and quality input into it, just like we got for the first game on PS4. And now Miles as well on both PS4 and PS5. But it's still not an only PS5 game. It's PS4 and PS5, which is going to make the full transition to only a PS5 game all the more impactful. Get her out of here. Boom. Vote her out. Purple is out. Sus. Yanked her right out the window. Done.
Just yeeted her out the window.
Chuck her out. It's a wrap. Boom. See. Oh, wait.
Oh, the gamer guy asked, do you think Carnage could be in a Spider-Man game?
That's what I think. That's what we were kind of previously discussing with the Ultimate Comics with Kirk Connors, where in that universe, Carnage is born from a hybrid experiment between Kirk Connors' DNA from the Lizard and Peter's DNA as Spider-Man. So, and we know Kirk Connors is in the sequel because he was teased at the end of Miles Morales. So if I freaking died. Fantastic. If they include Kirk Connors in the sequel with a type of story relating to the Ultimate Comics, then I could easily see them trying to do something similar to the origin of Carnage, where instead of being Cletus Cassidy, it could be a sentient life form like what was shown in Shattered Dimensions and the Ultimate Comics. Or crazier, if they go the Ultimate Spider-Man game route, where instead of Cletus Cassidy being Carnage, it was just Peter. Peter was Carnage, and he wore the symbiote mixed with the DNA cells of the remaining particles that were left over from Venom, which was crazy. Like, that whole story, and Brian Michael Bendis is on crack or something when he made that narrative, because that was, like, the craziest story that I have ever seen for Spider-Man comics, but it was awesome. Like, I love what he did with the story for the Ultimate Comics with Venom and Carnage being Peter and Eddie, pretty much. That was crazy. So if they do that again, but they're already teasing the symbiote for, Miles and the sequel, and they go forward with that in the next game, then I hope that they can do something really new and interesting and different for the character that we've never really seen before in a AAA setting. Like we've seen him in Shattered Dimensions and Ultimate Spider-Man, but not like in the same scope of like a Batman Arkham / Uncharted level of scope and magnitude. And of course what Insomniac's doing now is fantastic, so we can only hope to see what they can do in the future.
So out of curiosity, what villains would you guys like to see in the game?
We already got an Easter egg of them in this game, but give me Big Wheel. Got to get Big Wheel back, please. This is a need. Just like Dragonfly, we got to get Big Wheel in here. For sure. No, I'm kidding. But for real, probably, it'd be a cool one people might be talking about, and it might lead into, like, it could be an interesting factor to try and connect with the movie if they do, but I hope they don't. I hope they would include him, if only for a needed purpose, is Morbius, the living vampire. That'd be interesting.
Oh, yeah, they can make it like Man-Bat from Arkham Knight.
Exactly. Yeah, that'd be cool, especially if they go a darker route with the symbiote. That'd be interesting. Yeah. Orbs, YT, perfect choice. Mysterio, for sure. That would be awesome. I mean, we already know that Mysterio exists in this game's universe and that he's fought him before in the past. So if they bring him back, I would hope that there's, like, a big reason for it. Not just like, oh, he's a throwaway villain. Like, he's just there to be there. Like, no. All the villains have purpose. Okay, actually, scratch that. Screwball did not have a purpose in the first game. So, that was a side villain. I mean, like, the main Sinister Six and the core, like, Dr. Octopus and that, like... They had a purpose, so if we get that again for the sequel and we bring Mysterio in here, that'd be great, for sure.
Honestly, I really want a Mysterio boss fight so bad in the sequel, because I really loved the one from Spider-Man 2. That was like my favorite Mysterio boss fight.
Finished.
And it was also hard, too, when I played it as a kid.
God, the Mysterio fight in Spider-Man 2 was insane. The Statue of Liberty one, I could barely do that at all.
That was so hard as a kid. I hated it. But
it was so... Because that one had the most physics-based thing, because you could only swing from those UFOs and the points of the Statue of Liberty's crown and stuff. Like, it would be so easy to do that now with the swinging mechanics in this game. But for this... and also, there was no, like, specific web zip points. You had to zip manually. You know, like, oh, I want to zip there on that building for this game. Like, you can auto-zip to places for Miles Morales and Spider-Man PS4. No, for Spider-Man 2... you had to be precise with your swinging, which was crazy. But I love that about that game as well.
I hope they don't do that on us if they bring Mysterio into the sequel. Ugh. Yeah.
That'd be crazy. But yeah. This moment as well did not affect me as much. I love the whole he's our Spider-Man thing. And his mom actually crying out for Miles was actually very heart-wrenching. But Finn dying, I'm like, that's upsetting. But I wasn't, like, crying my eyes out, like, with the Otto Octavius fight for the first game.
Well,
that's just me. I mean, this is still a great scene, but I just don't... And I love how the last thing that we see in the game is the first thing that we saw for its reveal trailer, with the reactor blowing up, which I love.
And I love the damage that the suit takes when he, like, touches the reactor.
Oh,
yeah, where it disintegrates off his arms and stuff. Oh, it's so good. It's fantastic. Now, if we do that again with the sequel, where we get the announcement for the sequel, and the first thing that they show is the black suit, and it's going over Peter's body, and he's, like, trying to get off or something, I'm like, oh my god, it's going to be so good. I'm not ready. You guys have no idea. Like, the black suit storyline is, like, probably one of, if not my favorite storylines for Spider-Man comics in general. Because of what that does to him and what that represents for him, and it goes against the entirety of what great power, great responsibility represents. You know, like, it's all about the power, not about the responsibility once he kind of takes control of him. And what Venom also represents is, like, all of his guilt and his struggles into one foe with Eddie and the hatred that they share for Peter. But of course now with Harry being Venom, that could change the whole dynamic of it, so who knows. But I'm pumped.
Do you even think we'll get Eddie as Venom? I don't even know.
No, I think that Eddie exists. Well, we know Eddie exists in this universe because of the Easter egg from the first game, but Eddie will most likely not be Venom because that is heavily teased to be going to Harry. But if they do, like, I'd be interested to see what they do with that, but I would prefer it to be Harry since that's what they set up previously. Like, at that point, once we get Venom in the black suit, it will have been 4 to 5 years since the initial reveal of that, with the first post-credit scene in 2018 for the first game. We'll have, now with Miles, you know, we already have another kind of reiteration of that scene where Harry is in the tank and he has the black suit on him and Norman's just saying, get him out of the tank. But for, like, a full-on story purpose of that, we're going to have to wait till, like, 2022, 2023 to actually see Peter in the black suit. So that's going to be 4 to 5 years of waiting for this moment. And I need that to pay off, for sure. Here it goes. The suit. Najee did so good in the scene. Bam. Done. I wish the suit got more damaged on the legs, I guess, but I understand why it makes more sense for it to be damaged on the chest instead of the legs, but it's still cool. But yeah, I'm ready. Franco, what about you? What do you think the sequel is coming out, like 2022 or 2023, or for PS5 only, or like if they, at that point would they do like a PS5 bundle for the game? I'd be hyped.
I mean, for release date, I think 2022. For
I would have to say so.
a platform, PS5 only for sure, and then, I mean, it'd be awesome to get a limited edition PS5 bundle, just like how we got with the first game. But we'll see. We'll see.
We need that, like, because of course Miles Morales is not a full game like Spider-Man PS4. It's a spin-off and a standalone and it's shorter, so that's why they didn't really sell like a Miles-themed PS5 console. But at the same time, Sony was a baller and they promoted it heavily as like one of the core premier PS5 launch titles for their next-gen console. Like, hey, you guys want to buy a PS5? We'll give you Spider-Man. And we'll give you the remaster for it for an extra $20. So it's like, holy crap, that's insane. Like, that's a massively good deal for the remaster and Miles for like the most definitive PlayStation 5 next-gen launch experience. Playing both of those games is like phenomenal. So once we get the official sequel, once that's only developed solely on PS5 hardware at launch no matter what, and only running on that one platform, that would be a fantastic achievement. But we will see. Yeah, Fat Dog 259 or 257. Real villain for the sequel is Screwball. Yep, you can only imagine. Coming back with a vengeance. Holy smokes. I'm surprised she wasn't even in this game, to be honest. That's a shock to me. Yeah, Kenny's Row G. Anyone wonder why Finn couldn't have just thrown Miles in the air and then come back down? I think that too, because it feels like a bit, not forced, but like, oh, well, she's so irredeemable at this point because she just put all of the Harlem residents in danger that she has to die. But from a logical standpoint, it's like, that doesn't make sense. Because, yeah, you're right. You could have just thrown Miles up in the air with the velocity skate she was wearing, because that's the gadget her and Miles made. If you find one of the time capsules, they make it. She's going up there in the sky with him. She lets him go. She could have launched him in there further and then just, boom, there, done. And they're already high up enough as is. So if he exploded and then fell back down, Finn could have caught him and then survived. And then she could have just ran away or turned herself in or something. But flat out dying, like, that's kind of, I didn't really grow enough of a deep connection with Finn to feel like an emotional investment of her death. Like, Otto, you're spending the very beginning of the game to the very end with Otto. You work with him, you see Peter like him, you see Peter show affection towards him, his mentor, because he cares about him. You feel that connection. You try and get that here with Miles too, but not as much as like you're part of the game. You're playing the game, working alongside Otto. For Miles, it's like, oh, they're old childhood friends. They separated for a while, now they're back together. She's evil, you gotta stop her, but she's mourning because her brother died. And that's it. Like, it didn't really do it, because if it was longer, you would have had more of an emotional attachment to Finn and Miles' bond. But because of the short length, it didn't really do it as justice as I would like to. It was still good, it just could have been a lot better, is the thing. I love this too, the mural. Literally me. This is literally me. I'm wearing headphones, walking down the street, not wearing Tim's though, but I am walking down, vibing out to music on my headphones. I do this, and it's so cool to see a character who's, again, completely different from me share a similar trait, and that's so cool that anyone can relate to him no matter who you are or what you look like. Just that connectivity that we as players invest within Miles is fantastic. And Peter. But again, anyone can be Spider-Man, anyone can be a hero, and that message is thoroughly conveyed here with Miles' game. And it's so good. Gloria too. Gloria looks fantastic in this game compared to the first game.
She looks
She's so wonderful.
Especially on PS5.
She's living her best life,
God.
helping out at Feast, carrying on Aunt May's legacy. I'm crying my eyes out, but that's still great. Oh, man.
It was nice to see her take over Feast.
It was. And she was on like a call with Jameson on like one of the podcasts saying like, I have to live up to like what Aunt May did for Feast. And he was talking about Aunt May as well, like giving her life for the people she cared about. Like, damn, breaking me out into tears already. And look at the two boys, the Spider Bros, hanging out.
So good.
I love it. At the end, they're just chatting it up. Like, oh man. And the advanced suit's actually red here. Everyone can stop complaining. It's actually red here in the scene. Yes.
Orange.
I know Franco can confirm that the advanced suit is actually red in the remaster, for sure.
Yes, it is for sure.
I also noticed, as a sidebar, for whatever reason, they, I think, enhanced or put more detail in the lenses of the advanced suit.
Did.
Like they're more reflective or something, or they're like
the
more like glossy or detailed.
Yeah, the black in the lenses are a little bit more glossier, like a little bit more shinier, to like really
almost
make them,
like Ultimate
stand
Spider-Man. Where he has the big
Kind
black
of, yeah.
glossy lenses on his mask. I love that.
Yeah, no, it looks really good.
Even on PS4 Pro, the boys still look fantastic. Look at them living their best life. Spider-Man 2 coming in the year 3000, in the year 2077. Because who knows how long that'll take. Fantastic.
Because what makes someone Spider-Man?
I love these credits too, but I'm sadly going to skip them because copyright. I'm sorry.
No, I love this song.
I love that song too. I apologize, people, but the copyright will claim me. Lecrae, I couldn't do anything about Lecrae because we were talking over it, but for some reason, the copyright is insane for I'm Ready from Jaden. That one goes nuts. Okay, look at this. So Harry's in the tank right now. He's awake instead of asleep because in the first game he was out cold, right? He's awake in this game. Dr. Connors is right there. His right arm is gone. It's so hard to make it out though because you have to look really close to see like the shoulder sleeve is strapped up to the side. He has one arm. Norman's right here. He's healthy. His vitals are good. Brain activity is normal, so he's fine. He's healthy. The symbiote, whatever he's doing, is helping him. So because of that, Norman is seeing that and saying that that's good enough for me to let Harry out. But Kurt is warning him, like, it could be dangerous because obviously he might know what the symbiote is and doing to Harry and what's going on. So, oh, great, they also fixed the lighting. I didn't even notice that in the PS4. In the PS4 version, there was always the big shadow on Norman's face, but they fixed that for the PS4 version. It looks fantastic now. My voice cracked, but I'm still honestly blown away how good this game looks on a PS4 Pro versus a PS5. They still look fantastic on both systems. The PS5 is obviously better, and it also has the benefits of ray tracing and the performance mode and all that, but the 60 frames per second. On my TV, which is a 4K, 60 FPS TV, it still looks phenomenal on the current gen. And it's fantastic. Can't say the same about Cyberpunk, though. But Miles, looking clean. Finn's dead, but Miles saved the day. Harlem knows he's Spider-Man. At least those citizens of Harlem know he's Spider-Man. Harry is awake, doing healthy, and Kurt's there trying to get him out with Norman saying to get him out with Kurt helping him because of forcing him to get him out. So, whoo! We're getting there, boys. We're getting there. Sequel time any moment.
Next year,
boom.
we're
Congratulations.
For sure.
You have finished the main story, New Game Plus. Great job, Hero. Thanks, Miles. Thanks, Marvel. Thanks, Insomniac. Boom. Nailed it. Now, obviously, we will have what do you call it? Oh my God. Is it nighttime now? What just happened? It all of a sudden went from evening to nighttime.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What
That's strange.
the heck? Just happened.
Weird.
Out of nowhere.
Okay.
Must have been a glitch or
Interesting.
something. Who knows?
One of the benefits of PS4 Pro, you never know what could happen. Oh boy. And that's the thing, you can see that they obviously made the game work better for the PS5 versus the PS4, but the game still runs really well on current gen. Sadly, Cyberpunk screwed the pooch big time and just ruined it all for current gen owners everywhere. So, who knows how they'll ever recuperate from that game.
Honestly, I felt like Cyberpunk didn't release at the right time.
The consumers got cyberpunked with that game. I'll tell you what. They got goaded out of their money with that one. Hoo boy. But anyways, guys, that was our main playthrough of Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. I'm sorry I really didn't talk about like the story elements of the game, but at least you actually got to see me play it from the beginning to end. We also got to answer some fan questions, talk about the sequel, talk about other things happening within the gaming industry, talking about what you guys are thinking about the sequel and your thoughts. Also, just being able to play the game for you guys on the channel is always very fun, and I thank you all for tuning in. As always, I wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. You guys are the best. 2020 has been a crazy year. It's finally close to being over, though. 2021 can hopefully get better. As I said in the very beginning of the stream, hopefully you're still staying tuned. If you watch this long, thank you for just hanging out with me and having fun. I did stay at the beginning of the stream, though. For the channel, in terms of videos, I think we're pretty much done for this year. We'll wait until next year, but I do have a very, very, very special guest planned for the channel to arrive on the 22nd of December, and we can talk to him and interview him on the channel soon, but the video itself may not be on the channel until probably the 23rd or later, because I got to edit it together and make sure the video looks and runs properly. But for me personally, I will be talking to this individual hopefully on the 22nd. We're in different time zones. He's busy with his own schedule. I'm busy with my own schedule, so hopefully it can work out. But if it all works out, I think you guys will really enjoy what the video is I have planned, and I'll be sure to tell Franco and Andrew what it is after the stream. But for you guys, I'm leaving it as a surprise for sure. But I think you'll like it, and
I'm excited.
yeah, I'm very excited to see what happens next within the Insomniac universe. Things can only get better from here. The sequel is going to be crazy. Ultimate Green Goblin or Classic Green Goblin Spider-Man 2, says Jupiter. I want Classic, because first off, they teased that already in the first game with I almost said Gladiator, the glider and the helmet / mask in Norman's penthouse. That's teasing the Classic Green Goblin, as well as the pumpkin bombs. So they're hinting at they're going to go the Classic Green Goblin route. But if they go the Ultimate route, I just hope there's a reason behind it. Not like, oh, they did it just to do it. Like, oh, there's a reason for them to do such a drastic change for Norman and his character. Like, for example, like, I hated the Green Goblin in Spider-Verse. First, he was there just to be there, just to kind of add on to the cool visual style of the movie, like with the animation style and the Ultimate Universe as well, since Miles is from the Ultimate Universe, so they made Norman look like the Ultimate Green Goblin mixed with the Classic Green Goblin, because which is weird, because he had pumpkin bombs and the little beanie nightcap, but then he also looked like a monster and flew with wings. So it was a weird design. I was not a fan of that Green Goblin design at all in that movie. Same thing with Kingpin. He looked like just shockingly stupid, like thick in that film, but that was kind of the point, since he looked like that in one of the comics. But for me, it was just kind of a bit, I couldn't take him seriously at all. Like, the final, moments in the movie where he's like, I can't wait to kill one more Spider-Man. Then his family's there, and he's sad because his family's dead. But then he looks like a goddamn double-stuffed Oreo in the movie. Like, I can't feel anything for him, because he looks just so silly and just so funny to look at. So, if they do that again with, Norman as the Green Goblin in this game, I would not be happy. I would really hope that the Green Goblin design in Marvel's Spider-Man 2 looks more classic than Ultimate. Slayer, you just hate everything, don't you, Evan? No, I do not, sir. It's called a preference. Get used to it. I have a lot of hot takes. You guys should know that by now. You guys can like what you like, and that's fantastic. I like what I like, and that's all that is. And also, the final mission, I forgot, relates to the Bodega Cat suit. So obviously, what am I doing in the frickin' classic suit when we can get the cat suit, for sure? But yeah, Miles versus Mr. Negative would be insanely nuts. Yes, it would. That would be crazy if they do that, and Miles would be able to would avenge his dad if he were able to do that. And he also kind of hates the Inner Demons. When you do one of the underground bases, and you see that one of the bases they overtook was a previous headquarters for the Inner Demons, he says that, like, oh, I hate these guys more and more. Like, I'll never stop hating these guys. So it's like, damn. So he's very keen on disliking the Inner Demons. So if we know now, it was confirmed that Mr. Negative is in jail. So if he breaks out in the sequel and Miles has to confront him or something by himself, and he has the choice to either kill him or spare him, that would be crazy. And that would be a very, very dark moment for the story, but also will get Miles a lot of closure for his dad. Well, he actually did end up receiving closure by the end of this game with his postcard stuff from his dad, but fighting Mr. Negative, the man responsible for his dad dying in the first place, would be a very cool twist to see. There's Spider-Man.
Surprised if I saw Negative again.
Yes. Spider-Man was Spider-Man, but would they bring him back? Mr. Negative, yeah, we don't know for sure. That'd be cool if they did, but we do not know as of right now. But right now, we know he's alive in this universe. Like, for example, like, I don't think they would bring Doc... Like, I'd be shocked, actually, but I don't think they will. I don't think they'll bring back Dr. Octopus in the sequel because they're going to focus more on Harry and Norman as the main threats for the game. So if they do that, then we have a lot to look forward to when it comes to the story and the elements, what they can do for the black suit. But anyways, guys, I think that has been the stream. We got the cat suit. There is a lot more side stuff to do in the city with the Prowler sound design stuff and the crimes also in the city for the Friendly Neighborhood Spider app and the time capsules and the underground caches. But for the most part, we beat the game. We took out the Tinkerer. Miles is saving the city. He's with Peter now. We saw the post-credit scene with Harry as Venom and Norman and the Lizard. This game, again, if you saw my review of it, I gave it a solid 9 out of 10. Love this game. I just wish the story was a bit longer. Gameplay is phenomenal with the swinging and the combat. The story stuff that you get with Miles representing him in a very great way is also phone call right here with Peter. Pretty much confirming that he's going to be a teacher in the next game is the coolest thing ever for his frickin' job. Instead of being a Daily Bugle reporter or photographer, he's going to be a goddamn teacher. I love that to death. That's such a smart choice to do for Peter's character. We've never seen that in a full, AAA Spider-Man game or movie at all. So seeing them actually do that for him in this game, making him a teacher, or hinting to the fact that he'll become a teacher, is so good. I love that so much, because teacher Peter Parker is one of the best versions of Peter Parker. It's like how they can write him and how mature he can be, and also if they're making him a teacher assistant at Miles' high school, Brooklyn Visions, or helping out with Dr. Connors if he's teaching at ESU or something. That'd be sick as well. I don't know. There's so much possibilities for what they could do here. I'm pumped, but I'm very happy that we are not done with this journey yet. This game is just getting started pretty much with the Spider-Man series from Insomniac. This year was great. You guys made it a fantastic year for the channel. I loved each and every moment of it, being able to just do videos about Spider-Man again and Avengers even, and just talking more about these games with you guys has been a true highlight for me. Thank you all who tuned in to watch the stream. All your support means the world to me, and we'll definitely make sure to stream more again in the future. Again, we'll try and wrap up maybe the side stuff. Let's see. Right now, we have 83% complete. Yeah, we have the caches, Prowler stuff, and the time capsules to get that's remaining. So we'll probably just clean up all those, maybe in a fun stream. And also the Jefferson Davis postcards as well. That's a very important side mission, which I love. We'll definitely try and do more of these down the line. But for now, have a very happy holiday. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Merry Kwanzaa, all that for you guys. Stay safe, stay festive, and stay having fun playing these games, because these are truly a blast. But any last words from you guys, Andrew or Franco? Any final words for the chat that you guys want to say?
No, I got nothing.
Well, all I can think of is saying is I'm glad that I was part of the stream, and I hope everyone all enjoyed the stream, and to remember to stay safe and have a happy holidays.
And with all that said, everyone, thank you all so much to Franco and Andrew for tuning in as my co-conspirators on this stream. Couldn't do it without them. Thank you all for your amazing questions. Hopefully I was able to answer some of them. Again, stay tuned on the channel, hopefully on the 22nd for a very special video. If I'm able to put it out that day, maybe the 22nd or 23rd. It's going to be worth it, I promise you. Until then, though, thank you all so much for watching. Stay spectacular, Spidey fans. Peace out.
Bye, everybody.